early on Cuban time. We're
According
early
to
as
Cuban
hell.
time, we're early.
Yeah.
You know.
Hey, Miami sports fans. Stop by Canesware today at 2655 South University Drive in Davie, Florida. And check out their awesome merchandise selection of your favorite South Florida sports teams. From the Miami Dolphins, Hurricanes, Heat, Marlins, Florida Panthers, and Inter Miami, they've got it all. Celebrate your favorite team and show off your fandom with their beautiful team starter jackets, killer-looking helmets, team jerseys, cool shirts, and more. And if you're out of town or out of state, no worries. Go to caneswear.com and find everything they have on their site. Select what you want, and they will ship your gear to you. Anything over $99 is shipped for free. Don't wait. Stop at Caneswear today.
Traffic, but I love you.
Ahora de Cuba la Bella, del Palacio de los Jugos.
Los chicharrones. Los vecinos aquí se enteran de todo.
Mi vecina era CDR en Cuba.
Y en verdad no hay nothing that you can do. Chacleteras sin llames con corbata.
Aquí yo vendo hot dog, pero en Cuba yo era médico.
Le saco el dedo y digo Q. Sweet home Hialeah. Solo 30 minutos de Le Fallo. Oh, sweet home Hialeah. I hate your traffic, but I love you.
All right, and hello, everybody, and welcome to another edition of East 10th Street Boys, straight out of Hialeah. I'm Bobby Melendez, joined always by Alex Atiachiska. Alex, my brother, how the hell are you?
I'm tired, man. I'm exhausted.
Yeah.
I look tired, right? I just literally got inside my house right now.
How did I,
but
5 minutes ago, I was just talking to you, hair was perfect, and I come back, you
You
look
see
like
this?
Albert Einstein.
Yeah.
What the hell's going on? What the hell happened?
Work, man. We're aliens.
Damn, I was just talking to you.
Fixing my car today.
And right on cue, too. There were
Yeah.
no dishes. As soon as the show starts, you got dishes in the background. We are ready to roll with
That's right.
another classic edition of
Boom.
East 10th Street Boys. My goodness, so much to talk about, obviously. We are going to discuss, of course, Florida Panthers up 1-0 against the Rangers in the second period. It's game one of the Eastern Conference Final. The little pooch, they do that little thing. I don't know what the dog's name is, but it's one of those dogs that Queen Elizabeth used to own, or not used to own, but the style of dog for the pug, right? I think no, it's not a pug. Who cares? Anyway, it always knocks the ball into the little garbage can, and and it says, "Oh, the prediction is," and they, of course, he or she had the Panthers winning the series by 7, but losing game 1.
Okay.
So far,
Is it the Border Collie?
No, not the Border Collie. No,
Okay.
no. It's one of those little. Audrey would know. She loves those damn dogs. It's a big butt dog. It's a big booty dog. That's all I know. It's one of those big booty dogs. And
big booty hoe. It's a big booty dog.
It's a big booty dog. And the Mavs versus the Timberwolves right now, game one of the Eastern Conference Final, or the Western Conference Final. It is 62-59 right now. The Wolves are up in that game. And I do want to clarify before we roll on here our picks, because obviously we're game 2 now for Boston going, I think, tomorrow. So, Alex, your what is your Eastern and Western Conference champions? Who goes to the finals right now? Like your prediction.
Okay, my prediction for the West, I believe it's going to be the Timberwolves. I think obviously it's going to be a nice matchup, but there's a chance that they could be done within 4 to 5 games if everything plays right, because I think it's a tougher matchup for them, realistically for Dallas. And obviously, defensively, Minnesota's the number 1 rated defensive team in the NBA, so they are prepared to at least you're going to pick one, really, to shut down either Kyrie or Luka. So you have to pick your poison. And Kyrie's going off today in the first half. So probably Luka's going to be the one that they're going to focus on. Like, one of them can drop 40 every single night, and they're still going to lose every game. On the East side, it would have been a different series if Porzingis was healthy, because that would have been a nice matchup. But the Pacers, to me, present a lot of problems matchup-wise to the Celtics. It sucks the way, obviously for Heat fans, the way Game 1 ended, because the Pacers basically gave the game. And Rick Carlisle took full responsibility. And that's when it comes to, if you're up 3, I'm a big believer in, if you're up 3 and there's a few seconds left, you foul. Before they shoot, before they have the opportunity to shoot a 3. I've always been a big believer. You foul automatically. You put them in the free throw line, and then you play your chances. You play your odds there, because you don't want to. The last thing you want to do is have the game end on or tied on a 3-point, and then you lose it. So those are things that I think Pacers will pull it off. Either, to me, you know what's crazy? I have either Pacers or Celtics in 6, but I'm gonna go with Pacers in 6.
Okay, so I told you this. I wanted to reach out to you yesterday and ask you, but I spoke to you earlier today, and I told you what was my predictions. And I'll say Minnesota, and I do have the Pacers. Even after last night, I have them in 7. That was been my prediction, and the reason why is what you saw yesterday. Offensively, the Pacers are a nightmare for the Celtics.
Their pace is insane.
It's crazy. We know that. We've always known that. Are they the underdog, and should they be? Abso-freaking-lutely. It's Boston. They got everything, and Jaylen Brown with an epic 3 at the end. I know a lot of people were talking about the foul deficiency, but if you've been following along,
the disparity was huge.
Absolutely, it was huge, and we had that kind of last year with the Heat. But Boston is a team that doesn't really foul much. They're not a real team that fouls much. If you go throughout the season, there's some obvious fouls,
and the style of play is different too. It's very different.
And where the Pacers are a team that fouls a lot. I think they're the second or third team in the NBA.
Young. Yeah, exactly.
But you know what I mean. So people got to kind of, were there some calls that were missed? Absolutely. But the Pacers gave that game up. They lose because the Celtics, quote unquote, beat them. They beat themselves at the end, which is crazy, because you could have stole one in Boston. So now you're down 0-1. Could you win? Of course you are. And I believe they will. I think they're going to be offensively, even with Porzingis. And we just talked about this before the show. Porzingis is going to come back. He's going to present a problem. That was one of the smartest acquisitions of the offseason last year. That's a championship winning move by an organization.
Mm-hmm.
We're waiting for Miami to possibly make. And is there a move on the horizon that could be that? We don't know. We're going to discuss it. But Boston always, they got Tatum, the bona fide all-star, Jaylen Brown right there. So they needed that other piece to go with that. And Porzingis is that guy. However, you don't plug him back. I don't think you should plug him and play right away. He's been out, I don't know, is it a month now? He's been out 3 or 4 weeks.
Yeah, at least 3 weeks, because it was during the Miami series.
Yeah, so obviously he's a professional. We know that. We know that he's going to be ready to go. He's one of the better players in the NBA. However, I don't think you rush him in, because you're going to mess with your chemistry. You're going to mess with your thing. So,
and his long-term health, because if he gets hurt,
he does have concerns. He does have history. So I don't want the Celtics to win. I mean, as biasly, I would pick them to win, but I'm not picking them to lose because out of bias. I am biased against the Celtics because they're Boston. Screw Boston. But
that's a polite way to put it.
If I am Boston, I would say, you know what? I think Porzingis is more to me coming off the bench than he would be as a starter right away. Rotate him off the bench. Imagine a 80-70% Porzingis coming off the bench for you to stay toe-to-toe with a high-scoring offense and a team like the Indiana Pacers. It just makes a lot of sense. But I don't think – I think in the end, this says Pacers win all over. They got the Cinderella story going right now, and I think they're going to upset the Celtics. And Minnesota versus Dallas, they got Kyrie. They got Luka over there in Dallas. They made some smart moves at the offseason that helped them get to where they are right now, or even in the midpoint, I believe. I think they made a big trade. But the Timberwolves.
Who, Dallas?
Was it Dallas?
Yeah. Dallas got P.J. Washington.
P.J. Watt. That's what I'm saying. And he's a guy, he could get you 20, 30, 40. He could be one of those guys that sneakily, because everybody's focused on Luka and Kyrie, he's somebody who could score for you from the three. So I'm not saying that they can't. What I'm saying is that the Minnesota right now, again, I know Rudy Gobert had a tough series, even though he had a very good Game 7 against Joker. He had a tough series against Denver.
Yeah.
I think this series is going to be a redemption act between him, Karl Anthony Towns, and, of course, the one and only Anthony Edwards. Michael Conley really showing he is what Kyle Lowry should have been for Miami.
That's what
That's the only way I could say that.
I wish we would have gone the Conley way instead of the Lowry way. But you can't, you're
woulda, shoulda, coulda, right?
That's fine.
But I mean, his veteran presence, his play on the court, the way he directs the offense and the defense, it shows. But I believe that team, that's going to be a fun series. I have Pacers in 7, but I got Minnesota in 5 or 6.
In 5 or 6?
6 to be safe. But really, I think they could take it in 5.
Pacers can even lose game 2 and go back home down 2-0. If they can win 2 at home, they can pick one in Boston game 5 and win it in 6 at home.
Yeah.
So game 3 is going to be, I think, the critical game. Usually in every series, game 3 is usually the critical one because it puts up somebody up 2-1 or 3-0. So that's the advantage point there. That's the advantage. But we'll see how they come out game 2. I'm gonna be interested if they can pull one off. Because realistically, man, they win game 2. You're thinking about them going back to Indiana. They could have been up 2-0. So and Boston, this is their team. This is their team for the foreseeable future. So I know Porzingis is hurt, but if they're having trouble in their championship window, the West is only going to get stronger. So Boston and the East will get stronger too, so with some of the younger teams and the Heat retooling. And Milwaukee's going to have a tough. I don't know how Milwaukee's going to retool. That's a very difficult.
They're in a very tough situation right now. Could they win with the roster they have? Absolutely. Come on, Giannis,
but it's health.
Lillard, Middleton. Well, that's the issue.
And age,
right? You got to say, and that's the thing. You think of Philadelphia. That window is like almost about shut. They got lucky because they got Maxey, and he's starting to appear. But it's really hinging on Joel Embiid going forward. I mean,
and who they have? They have a max slot, so they're trying by all bills to get George. They're trying to get George.
They're going to try to get Paul George. I know they were trying to create a drama between Heat and Jimmy Butler.
It's not gonna
everybody. Murray. God, I can't wait for him to leave the league. But anywho, you're right. The East is getting tough, and the Heat have to make some decisions. Right now, Panthers are still down. I mean, they're up 1-0 right now.
1-0.
And it's the end of period 2 for the
Panthers. So we're going to the third quarter.
Going into the third period right now. So talk about Miami Heat.
Yes, sir.
There's been a lot of noise because what's going on with Donovan Mitchell. He did not play the final game for the
final 2 games.
The final 2 games, I believe, out of injury, right? And so he was held out or did not play because of injury. And now the report is that he's looking to leave. Of course, there's other moves could be made. They're even saying their point guard. I'm forgetting his name right now.
Darius Garland.
It could be either him or it could be Mitchell and possibly Allen, their center. He could be out the door. And their owner is looking to get more involved. God help them. And that's it. But hey, you know what? He's the owner. It's his money. He does whatever he wishes.
Yeah.
But what that did was, of course, it happens every offseason, Alex. Every offseason, there's a shiny piece on the window. It's like you're going through the mall.
And window shopping.
You're window shopping. And, you got a good thing there. What you have is pretty good. There's some things that are not working that you go, I definitely need to get a little part here and there and there and there and there. And it should get it going, i.e. get it going is the Heat. But you pass by that store window, and again, they just put a brand new thing. It's not really brand new. It's kind of dented. It's been used.
Yeah.
It's been at you, but it's history. Hey, man, that is a good damn part. But you got to give up a penny and, a lot, a pretty penny for that part. Whether it was KD, Bradley Beal, Damian Lillard. I'm just using the most recent examples. And now Donovan Mitchell. Some team, dangles the star or potential whatever star. And Heat fans around the world are going, oh, we got to get him. and we got to give up whoever to get him.
Well, yeah.
Listen, the guy averaged 26.1 points a game last season. Played 55 games, though. What did Pat Riley just talk about availability? Played 55 games last year. But, again, was he happy in this situation? Even though they went to the playoffs, did he really sit out because he wasn't happy? Blah, blah, blah. We know the injuries, whatever. 26 points a game. No doubt he's better than Tyler Herro, right? Can we agree that he is better than Tyler Herro?
Yes.
No doubt at this time, he's better individually against a Jaquez or Jovic.
Correct.
Is that fair to say?
Correct.
We know that. If you say right now, Jovic, we'll just say Jovic or Jaquez, either one, for Mitchell, even swipe. You can't do it because of salary. Even swipe, you do it.
Absolutely.
Right? You don't have to trade nothing else. That's a different story. But now we're talking about Tyler Herro, Jaquez or Jovic. Put one and the other there. I'm not saying both. I'm saying one or the other, even though they may want both. Whatever else needs to work on the salary. And then now they're saying a first-round pick or two. I'm going to ask this because you and I have had this debate, and it's really about Jovic and Jaquez.
Yes.
And we both, and I will say this full disclosure.
Yes.
We both love both players. We love both
Correct.
players.
Correct.
You know how much I love these players because I was like, man, he have to draft Jovic, this kid out of Serbia. Blah blah blah. It was a fun draft. We had it with Juan and Neil. I remember, and it was one of the best memories and moments. It was so much fun because you guys were like Serbia, and then at the end, you're like, dude, we got to get the Serbia kid. It's one of my favorite memories. And then Jaquez last year, I was like, dude, you got to watch this kid. There's something about him. Jimmy Butler 2.0. He has heat written all over him. They take him. So I love both guys. So you and I, though, on the opposite ends of the fence. Now, if you go Jaquez or Jovic, I probably would not have that much of an issue with you on your tweets because we were having that back and forth. But you kept saying Jaquez. You're like, it's Jaquez. And you were spelling his name wrong.
Yeah.
So it's like.
I love how people look, they're like, are they actually mad at each other? Or what's going on? It's like, no, we're not bad. We don't.
We're good. Up.
We're good. We're good.
That's nothing. Yeah, I know. Taddy's like, wow. No. But, so like if you would have said, this was the issue with the tweets. If you would have said Jaquez or Jovic, I would have been like, yes, makes sense, or no, I still am not comfortable with it, which I'm going to tell you why I have a problem with either one. But, you of course said that. So I was like, dude, if you're going to give up one, I know what Jovic, I know what Jaquez is, what he does, what he is to the team right now, compared to what eventually he can be as well, because he's going to continue to grow compared to the project, which, again, he offers, there's upside there. We've talked about it. We talked about it since he was drafted. We've seen things here and there. But to me, the comparison is, and the reason why I would say one or the other, if I had to give up one, of course, Cleveland has a choice. They hook out Jaquez. You don't have a choice. You got to decide if you're going to give up Jaquez. But if you're telling me one or the other, I would say, hey, you know what? I know what he did for me this season. I know what he's played 70-plus games. He was in important minutes. He was an important piece. He made some impact plays. He's first-team all-rookie. He was up for rookie the year. We haven't had that. We have it right here. We know what he is. We hope what Jovic is. We know we've seen the upside. We see potential, but he hasn't got there yet. We're looking forward to tomorrow when we know what we have right here. That's why, to me, it's like in this discussion would be, if I'm going to move one or the other in this potential trade, it would be Jovic, because again, I feel I would not want to move this, especially in a playoff situation. He and our team, like Oklahoma, that had to build until they finally got to that spot. The Heat are a championship. That's their goal. Their goal is not to slowly get better. The goal is to get better quick. And to me, it's like, you've talked about this before. Same thing with the Dolphins, or even the trade with the Heat. You don't want, get a superstar, but then you clear out your bench and you have nobody. Pat Riley just talked about that.
Correct.
So, first off, and I see a comment there. I'm going to get to that in just a second. First off, everyone watching, we appreciate you guys, whether you're watching YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, Twitch, anywhere you are right now. Appreciate you watching. Hop on over. If you're on anything else, come over to YouTube, hit that subscribe button, that like button, share with your friends and families, as the great Steve Malloy would say. So, very quick. My point about the Jaquez Jovic, do you understand my point of view in regards of if you had to include one of those two, why I would say, it's not like, oh, Bobby doesn't like Jovic. No, I love Jovic.
No,
and I would not give up either one. But if I had to, it would be Jovic, just because.
I understand.
You know what I'm saying? All right.
I understand your point of view from you.
Okay,
I got you.
even field.
Yeah.
Tell me what your point of view is. Why you would say I would give up Jaquez over Jovic?
Well, for example, in my case, and for the people out there, this was a hypothetical situation that now is actually talked about. That's why Clutch put something like, "Oh, multiple reports." I'm like, "Oh, reports, multiple ones." It's like it. I was just. I always like to place myself, especially in the team build. I always believe in how you build your team and the development of your team, the acquisitions. I love that part of basketball. I coach basketball. I'm an assistant coach in high school, but I genuinely, my passion has always been team building. And when you see the trend of the NBA right now, as you can see, it's once again big athletic wings and multi-dimensional players in every position. Now, when I analyze our team build, the way we're going, the hypothetical move was I even included Robinson because I believe Cleveland might want to move Strus or Robinson is on a shorter deal. Herro's on a team friendly deal realistically for all these max offers. So it was just a hypothetical trade that can actually come down to just Herro and Jaquez and multiple picks, or it could be expanded because remember all this the salaries have to work. That's why it's a perfect match because you have an organization which I believe that they still want to compete and they're still going to be good, but they're just at a crossroads right now. They're waiting for Mitchell. If Mitchell gives the go ahead and he signs an extension, then that team is really picking between him or Garland because that backcourt is not really going to work out. Garland has been very limited since Mitchell arrived there. So, and Garland already signed his extension. Garland is an excellent player. He just needs the right situation. A backcourt of him and Mitchell is not going to succeed because it's too much. Mitchell takes away too much of what Garland does, which is why even the hypothetical that we acquire Mitchell, I believe Terry has to come off the bench because they're too similar. I'm not saying they can't play with each other cohesively, but if we don't trade Robinson, a better fit is Robinson at the 2. I even believe there's going to be a situation, depending on who we draft. This is my other scenario because I have 2 or 3 players that I would target in our range, depending on what falls. But you might even have situations where we have 3 players on the court that are above 6'10", 6'9". And the NBA is changing. I do believe the Heat are going to change their offensive philosophy this year. They're going to push more pace. They're going to play different styles, but they're going to have one identity because they have a situation where you don't know offensively what you're doing night in and night out. That comes into play also with who's playing, who's available. But my reasoning for wanting to keep on Jovic if it comes down to Jaquez, number one, Cleveland's going to ask for both. We're not going to give them both. We draw a line there. They're not going to get both if they're going to get picks. If you get both, you don't have to include basically any first-round picks. But I don't think Miami's going to do that because people don't understand how value works in the NBA. They just go on the ESPN trade machine and like, it makes sense. It works. Remember, this isn't 2K. GMs see potential. GMs know how to build. That's what I'm saying. What to me in basketball. Yeah, bro. Cronin's gonna get. To me, I fired Cronin on the spot. The moment Jaquez was all first team All NBA, all rookie, and you saw Jovic's development, and they could have had both of them probably for Dame, which I still think we would have traded one realistically, but they could have had Herro and one of them. But that's another story. The comparisons with Jaquez and Jovic. Jaquez as a player, this is who he is. Now, he's going to improve in certain areas, but there's not going to be a giant leap when it comes to overall game. It's just magnified and improve his overall game. But there's not like another level to his game that you're going to get. You're just going to get excellent in the levels that he's at. He's 24 years old. He is who he is, and I believe Cleveland wants to continue to contend in their window. So he fits them even more than a Jovic for them. Why? Because they got Mobley. What you do with Allen is up in the air because I believe Allen, I think I tweeted that the other day, Allen's going to be someone's Rudy Gobert this year where he gets traded and he basically is a Rudy Gobert type player. He might even be a little bit more talented offensively, but he is the Rudy Gobert built. Obviously a little smaller, but there's a team out there that's missing a player like that. and they will make a splash for him. My philosophy when it comes to that is I believe if you acquire Mitchell, obviously you probably have Richardson coming back. You probably are going to re-sign Highsmith. I think Caleb Martin is gone for sure. I believe there's a chance that we re-sign Highsmith. I do believe out of our development players right now, Alondis Williams will be a rotational player, and he's 6'4", 6'5", very strong. Depending on who we draft, the league is going taller. The league is going more versatile. So you have these 6'8", 6'9" shooting guards, kind of like in the Paul George builds, in the Kevin Durant's. Now the whole league is becoming that. So they are going to get bigger in every area. Jovic offers something in this roster that Jaquez wouldn't offer in regards to pushing the pace, the ball handling, in regards to rebounding, in regards to size, playing next to Bam. Jaquez is your perfect Jimmy Butler. He's a more offensively talented Jimmy Butler at this age, and he is your perfect glue piece because he does everything, and he's going to improve on his one-on-one. He's going to improve his short to mid game, so I have no problem with that. Just long term with this team, I'm not going to say I'm going to find another Jaquez, but a player like Jaquez in the 6'5", 6'6" is easier to find than a 6'11", 7-footer that's still growing and can do everything that your team kind of needs. And he's only 20 years old, so he's like, when you see the trajectory, I know people have compared him to Lauri Markkanen and all that, but he's more of the Hedo Turkoglu type situation. And people don't remember Hedo Turkoglu in Sacramento because they didn't use him the right way and he was still younger. People remember the Hedo Turkoglu in Orlando. That is who Nico is. You can actually run your offense through him. And I'm not saying you can't through Jaime. I'm just explaining so people understand. You have a Jimmy Butler right now on the roster. Yes, you don't know how long you're going to have him for. You have some people that can play the role that Jaquez plays. Maybe not as good, but you have people that you can find to play that role. You can even draft another person that could play that role. Nico, you can find another person also like Nico, but they're very rare. And the way he's developing and the way he's comfortable in his role next to Bam, it opens up the offense entirely. And long term is going to create more matchup problems. It's more cohesive with your team build if you acquire Mitchell, because Mitchell kind of plays in the vicinity of what Jaime Jaquez would do. So the touches won't be the same. You're gonna have if you acquire Mitchell, Jaquez is gonna continue to come off the bench as your six-man extraordinaire, because I believe that's his perfect role. I don't believe he can play next to Jimmy, but I believe when he's playing next to Jimmy, he loses a little bit of who he is, and you kind of remove what he does great. And Cleveland will be a perfect fit for him because he slides right into it if they keep Garland or if they move Garland. Herro, Jaquez, Mobley. So Cleveland is, I think, gonna request him at all costs. It might be like you said, either one or the other, but it all comes down to also draft pick and compensation, because you're probably only gonna get another first-round pick. Donovan Mitchell doesn't have that many years on his contract. He can control the narrative. If he doesn't sign his extension and he just says, I'm only going to sign an X team or makes it 2 team, then you create a bidding war. Obviously, Miami wants him to publicly state, I'm only going to 1 team, and do it the right way. Because Dame did it last year, but in the end, there was an option. There was a little window. So Milwaukee took advantage of it. So it's all going to play out. But I do believe if we do go the Mitchell route, for this year and long term, a better fit will be Jovic with Bam, because if you trade Jovic, now you have the hole at the 4 again. And you don't have a player in this roster, or maybe someone you can draft, but the way he's developed and the way he's fit right in, and not only the way he's developed, this is what people don't understand. Because there's development in basketball, and 3 or 4 year difference is a huge difference. Jaquez played in UCLA, even if it was only 30 games a season. That's a huge developmental point for a player that he gets to the NBA, and you're going to see that mold a lot for a lot of these teams, because this offseason, you're going to see a lot of teams starting to reset their cap situations. A lot of teams, you can no longer have 3 stars, max contracts like the Phoenix Suns have, unless it's the perfect fit. In Miami, you have 3 max contracts, but they're scaled. Jimmy's really the only one making 40 something million plus. Right now, you got Bam at 30 something, and you got Tyler like at 29. So you got semi max contracts. If you get Mitchell, if you acquire Mitchell, he's going to sign an extension. And Jimmy's really out of here in 2 to 3 years max. So Mitchell is in the timeline with Bam. So you have them. And Bam and Mitchell become your max contract players. And then you build around them. You're going to see a lot of contracts in the 15 million, 16 million, 9 million. But you're not going to see many teams anymore with 3 max players like the Celtics, like the Suns. Like, you're going to see teams go away from that. But I just think fit-wise and development-wise, when you actually sit down and analyze their games, I know Jaime is going to improve his areas of his games. But there's not a huge leap, another developmental point. He just has to improve on what he does good now and make it great. And what he does great, make it excellent. So he's gonna grow. He's gonna be a better shooter, a better defender. But this is the Jaime game. With Jovic, there's still many ways that we didn't use him. If people want to see who Jovic is or how we can max Jovic, watch him play for the Serbian national team. That's how you're gonna start using Jovic from now on.
Okay. So my thing is,
give him Butler and Herro.
So yeah.
Butler in a second round pick.
My thing is make sure everything's working here.
Yeah.
I get what you're saying again, and I think what you said in regards of why one or the other kind of fits what I was saying about why what you're alluding to.
Yes.
Is the potential there. There's higher potential with Jovic.
Yes.
But potential is what it is. It's I see potential. His upside. Does he hit that upside or that potential upside that we think? We don't know. We know what Jaquez is. And you just said if he is there now, first team all rookie. And
yes.
You remember you one of the things you said in one of the tweets, if I remember, it was something like Caleb Martin, Jimmy Butler, Jaquez, Well, Caleb Martin's most likely gone. Jimmy Butler cannot stay healthy more than 50 games, and he wasn't here for you to playoffs. Jaquez got a freak injury, missed it, but he played 75 games. You lose Jimmy, you got Jaquez, you're set. You have somebody with a similar mindset and who you say is better than Jimmy where Jimmy was at that point. And look how good to great Jimmy is now or recently that he's been for Miami. Who says Jaquez can't be better than that? Jaquez could be better than that, I believe. I think Jaquez has lots of potential. You see a wall or a ceiling with Jaquez. I don't. It's the same thing we talked about when I brought him up as a prospect. I saw everything I saw with him screamed Miami Heat. Attitude, character, play, and again, Jimmy 2.0. And it's been what it was. And he's basically a spokesman for Miami. He is a face, but he was at the White House. Jaquez, no doubt. If you can keep him, you keep him because the potential is there. You don't know. Maybe one day you wake up, roll over, and he makes a reserve as an all-star. And then now, he is paired next to Bam. But like you were saying, if you trade Jovic, who are you gonna have next to Bam? Now you got that hole at the 4. He wasn't the 4. He wasn't starting 4. It was Caleb and Highsmith, and he would rotate.
Oh, of course, but I'm saying that's going to change. That changes now. The whole NBA is changing.
Yeah, the whole NBA is changing, but it depends. I know what you see, and I know what I've seen. It's about what Miami sees. Now, Miami has to implement them. There's a lot of times where you've said, Bobby, they need to do this, that, and this. If you're watching this, that, and this, they should be doing this. And then 3 months later, you call me on the phone, and you'll say, dude, I don't know what the Eric Spoelstra's doing. I don't know why they're not using this guy. Because obviously, that's why they get paid the big bucks. The same thing with the Dolphins. You would think, we're not paid that, and obviously they're smarter than us, whatever, they get paid, whatever. But it doesn't take a rocket scientist to say, hey, maybe you should start implementing.
One thing that I'll say to that, in fairness, we see development when we see them play. They see the development, a day-to-day operation.
Yes.
And then you see the improvement. And then when you see, I remember we did a show. It was like mid-season. I think it was with the All-Star. And I think Clutch asked me, he's like, who do you think is going to be the 4 and all that? And I'm like, there's a realistic shot that his position on this team, because it started with Nico playing 8 minutes, 9 minutes, and then not playing again, like the Myers Leonard role a few years ago. And I'm like, that's not who. When you saw him on the court, you saw the change of pace, which that's my explanation to this summer. Part of changing the offensive philosophy, they value who's going to be a better fit for me, because the development is there. The potential's still there, but the development, you see it at rapid speed. And when you see a player at 20, 21, 22 developing that quickly, you know they're going to pick up everything, and with a work ethic and things of that nature. So you're picking right now, you're picking out your best poison, really. Because
because to me, my argument against that would be, and again, I don't want people to think that you're saying, you're shitting on.
No, you're not pro. You're not pro Jaquez and anti-Jokic. No.
But
I got you.
But it's
you want a more secure player now.
Well, and the thing is, like you're saying, what he could be. It's like, well, hold on a second. Jaquez is in year one. He's in year one, and Jovic played about 20 minutes a game, 19 and a half, right? Mm-hmm. The rookie played 28 minutes.
He was more game ready. He was 24. He just came out of UCLA.
Well, absolutely. And again, and I get it. Now, in a perfect world, you don't move anybody. You say, hey, you know what? We keep it.
Absolutely.
And to me, I think, everybody's saying is crapping on this draft. I don't want to move my first round pick. So let's approach this a different way. We know where we are, where we stand on these guys.
Yes.
We don't want to move either one, but if we had to, we're going to go this way, and we have our reasons, and they're all both valid. Mm-hmm. Because you see something in Jovic that, you're like, dude, I see it. I see the potential. I think this is a guy that they haven't scratched the surface yet. Once he has that opportunity, he's going to blow it up.
And you know what's crazy? I'm going to tell you something later on that based on whoever we draft, I see a combination where even Bam is played differently in certain areas. It could be fun. It could be fun.
I'm going to say this. You say the hole at the 4.
Yeah.
And I know Clutch ain't going to like this. It wouldn't be a hole at the 4 if you go ahead and take that center. You get somebody big.
Bam is going to play a lot of 4.
That's what I'm saying. Bam is a positionless player.
Jovic is going to play, if he's still here, Jovic's going to play a lot of 3. If Jimmy's going to play a lot of 2, that. I'm telling you.
Think about that's what I'm saying. Like, okay, so let's approach this a different way.
Yeah. Shoot it.
No doubt, Donovan Mitchell is a great player. He's a great player. He's still young. He's friends with Bam Adebayo. He's a better player than Herro.
The relationships are very important with Bam.
Relationships are important. Very important. He's better than Herro. He's better than Jovic. He's better than Jaquez right now at this certain time.
Correct.
However, I want to approach this from a different angle. I know it's so easy for people to say yes to this answer, but I need people to really think.
Yes.
You saw what Miami did last year or this past season with the roster they had. We both said, I want to do disclosure. The year before that, the Heat struggled. They fell into the playoffs, and I told you, I was like, dude, I believe they can make a run, playoff Jimmy, playoff Heat. And they did. They went to the finals. They lost against Denver. This year, we both went into it, and we're not, you know me, you and I go back and forth because I'll say, dude, it ain't that great, blah, 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 blah. But I said, you and I both said this roster is better than it was the year before that.
Absolutely. 100%.
They get bounced in the first round. Mm-hmm. With the current roster, of course, yes, you could say injuries, but there's injuries all over the place.
Yeah.
Right? And, again, Tyler Herro, how many times do you have opportunities to show up and say, I could be that guy?
Correct.
Jimmy's not here, and you did not do that. Bam, to me, did his job. And I understand Tyler had some good games. But it's like, you can see, like, there are pieces missing. We got to figure this out. But as Donovan Mitchell, you take Tyler out of the equation. You take Jaquez. I'd say, because Jovic, you take him out. What really are you missing at that point? Because he only plays 19 minutes a game. You could find a plug and play. Because we're talking about the future Jaquez. I mean, Jovic, not now. We're talking about future. So let's take out Jaquez, who had major minutes throughout the season, impact player, missed the last game of the playoffs. Take out Tyler Herro, maybe Duncan, and then a first-round pick. Mm-hmm. We know we could throw names out there. We know Caleb Martin most likely is gone because the Heat are not going to be able to pay him. You put Donovan Mitchell, Jimmy Butler, Bam Adebayo, Smith, Jovic. We hope they know how to use Jovic to what you believe.
Yes.
Terry Rozier, Josh Richardson.
Correct.
Look at the Cavs. Cavs have a pretty decent roster. Mobley, Garland, Mitchell. Oh gosh, what's this other? Allen. Go forth.
Okara, I think what's his name? Isaac Okara, 35.
They have a good roster.
He's a good piece.
Very strong roster.
Struz. Yeah.
Look, they couldn't get past it the first round. He couldn't. He didn't even play the last 2 games. In a playoff game, he didn't play last 2 games. You know, I've always said this, and it's the same thing goes for the Dolphins, for the Heat, or in anything. Does he move the needle? When we're talking about a player, if you're really going to give up a player like Tyler, Jaquez, Jovic, Robinson, a first-round pick that you desperately need, Donovan Mitchell, for as good and great as he is, he only played 55 games or 50 games last season.
Mm-hmm.
He missed the last 2 games of the playoffs. Jimmy missed the playoffs. Does Mitchell truly move the needle for this Miami Heat basketball team? Is he really worth giving up Herro, Jaquez, Robinson? Let's use your draft scenario. Those 3 guys. Duncan Robinson, automated 3, getting better. We talk about Jovic. This guy's improved his game defensively, offensively, interior, outerior. He's always been a great 3-point shooter. Tyler Herro, for what he is. Jaquez, what he already is, what he could be, because he's only 24 years old. He's a rookie. First-team NBA rookie.
Mm-hmm.
Think about that. When's the last time?
Mm-hmm.
That's who we have right now. He was nominated for Rookie of the Year. He's right there with those guys. We're going to trade him, Robinson, Herro, a potential first-round pick, whether that's Zach Edey or whomever else people want to throw their name out there, for Donovan Mitchell. We know the money's going to be for those 3 guys. Butler, Adebayo, and Mitchell.
Yeah.
The little sparsities that you can put around there. You still have Rozier. You got Richardson.
Mm-hmm.
Richardson in our lineup. Rozier, we don't know what his health is. Is it really worth it? Is Mitchell one of those guys that moves the needle for this team enough to win a championship?
I think Mitchell moves the needle, and it's very important how you change your offensive philosophy and how you build around them, because you're now aligning. You're still in Jimmy's timeline, but that's why I've never liked talking about Jimmy's timeline, because I've always believed it was a gap. Jimmy knew what he signed up for, and that's why we signed Kyle Lowry. Jimmy wanted Kyle Lowry. He saw it didn't work. We could have had Kyrie for off the court issues, and a lot of people were against it. But I thought he would have been the perfect matchup, because he's really why we acquired Terry Rozier this year is why we would have acquired Kyrie, which is a much better player. But I believe Mitchell moves the needle because they will build the proper team around Bam and Mitchell, because now you no longer, this is another thing. The point of this roster, which was the Herro development, was Herro was going to be relied to be a scoring, the number 1 scoring option, realistically. And people don't understand this because, and I want to peel back the curtain a little bit so people can understand what I mean about scoring option. People think your number 1 scoring option is your strongest guy, the one that always goes to the back. No, Butler's your driving force. Bam is your most important player. He's your most valuable player. But Jimmy is your driving force, your leader, mentally and physically on the court. But there's a reason he's not captain, because first of all, he doesn't care for that. He just leads a different way. But all these scenarios and schemes are facilitating Herro to be a scorer. When you are down, and I know you mentioned injuries, there is injuries in the NBA every year. There are very few teams can win a series losing 2 of their major players, their most important players. When you go down Rozier, when you go down Jimmy Butler, when you have half a Duncan Robinson out there, which is not really a threat anymore, what do teams do? Teams, they plan to stop you, and they target you, which is what they did to Herro. You completely take Herro out of the game, especially after game 2. What the Celtics did was remove Herro completely out of the game, and they succeeded. Where I believe that's the difference with Mitchell. Mitchell's already at a stage in his career that, yeah, he played 55 games. Mitchell really typically plays in the high 60s. He missed another, I think he only played 50-something games in his last year in Utah, or one of these in Utah because he was injured.
Yeah, he just full disclosure, he played 68 games last season.
Correct.
67 is last season in Utah.
So
53, 69, 77, 79 was his rookie year.
That's not really a concern for me because he doesn't have a list of nagging injuries. He does have injury history, but I do believe, to answer your question, I do believe he moves the needle because you build around your team. I believe we're going to keep our first round pick this year. Either way, we have to make a pick, even if we're trading it. We have to make a pick and then trade it because we can't trade it in consecutive years. No, we can trade it, but we don't have it. We don't have our rights for 2025. Yeah, we don't have the rights of 2025 outright, so we can't move this year's. They're gonna build around. Obviously, you try to sign DeLon Wright again. You try to re-sign him as your backup point guard. There's many routes that they can take in regards to who becomes available. Also, like Gordon Hayward, there's gonna be veterans that you don't want to have role players in their late 30s.
You trade somebody like Jovic, you're picking Gordon Hayward. That might be something where you temporary.
But you see, that's my comparison though. If I trade Jaquez, I think of a Gordon Hayward as my backup 2, my backup 3. So those are the things that if they trade Jovic, you know they're gonna draft an athletic big, and they're moving Bam to the 4. So that's automatically
They should do that either way. They need to do that either way. I think. For sure.
There's a scenario here, and I'm gonna say it live to you, so only you hear it, and whoever. Let me see how many people are here. Okay, I'm gonna say I believe there's two players that I've really grown fond of. Obviously, there's still Isaiah Collier. There's the McCain from Duke. To me, one of the best players in this draft to me is going to be Devin Carter, the one that played here at the Raw Academy.
Yeah, I know that,
so he might go. That all depends because I believe the Heat in the second round they're going to target maybe a combo guard, but there's Ware that's growing on me, and I could really resold on Edie because I think we can use him the right way, and he is athletic enough and offensively gifted, and he has decent footwork. He's improving his footwork, and he has some ability that you can really use a player like Edie in the Heat. And then I had this scenario, right? You trade for Mitchell. You already have Terry Rozier. Rozier's your backup point guard. Maybe you have Wright as your combo guard as well, defensive to play with him. But I believe we can start if we draft Edie or Ware. I would start Mitchell, Jimmy in the backcourt. Jimmy's role is going to change in regards to he can focus, he can freelance on offense. He can still create, but Jaime will succeed with his team in the Miami. He will succeed when he doesn't need to be the number one scoring option. You don't need Jaime to give you 20, 25 points a game. I need Jaime to give me 17, 18. I need 7, 8 rebounds, 6, 7 assists. That's the Jaime that I need. That's the Jaime I believe the Heat need to be successful. I don't need Jaime to give me 37 points every day. He can give you 40 points a game one day on a series. That's different. But I believe we can build a team with Mitchell, Jaime. You could even play whoever we don't move, obviously. I think you play Nico at 3, and then you play Bam at the 4, and Ware or Edie, obviously, at the 5. Now you have a front court that your shortest player is 6'9". Think of this difference. This is what I'm trying to explain to people. Miami has always been known to play small, okay? And we are going to have small players in different positions. We're going to be positionless, but the NBA is whoa, we're just falling apart here now.
We are falling apart. That's what happens live, baby.
The best part is we got to have the snipper bob your face when it started going down. You're like, oh shit, oops, just melting.
We good?
We're good.
I'm not going to move.
I'm telling you right now, you have the possibility where even if you have Bam, Jovic, and Edie, where you all of a sudden went from being one of the smallest teams to one of the most athletics and bigger teams, where you still use Mitchell as 6'3". Mitchell, those superstars don't really exist anymore. It's a 6'5" and above. The Halliburtons, you have 6'5", 6'6" point guards. That is your most dominating 2-guard point guard combo. You don't have. I mean, honestly, right now, maybe the only 2 that I can think of automatically is Jalen Brunson and Kyrie Irving. In regards to being 6'1", 6'2", like the NBA is going away from that. That does not mean that they're going to be obsolete, but teams now are so versatile and so big. Like when people saw the Minnesota build, look at the Pacers build with Miles Turner, Obi Toppin, Pascal Siakam. Like, you have players that are tall and functional, multifunctional, and multi-purposeful in your lineups. And we lost Bobby for a second, so I'm gonna keep on going. For everybody listening, there's really Edie's kind of like your perfect scenario where you go into the situation, you draft him, you might develop him, and hopefully he falls because there might be a team that might sneak in and pick him. But at the beginning I was against it. I believe they're more inclined to Khalil Ware. I don't know if I'm saying it right. Because I think he's also a better fit with Bam. He's a good shooter also. He spaces out. You're going to see Bam space out too. He doesn't need to take 3 or 4 3-pointers a game. Jimmy's game is going to evolve as well. Jimmy will start shooting more jumpers consistently as his game ages, also to prevent the wear and tear. That's one thing that when we saw with Dwayne Wade, you knew when he was younger that by the time he was in his 30s, his game wasn't going to age gracefully because he didn't have the body to take that beating. Now, LeBron has a body to take that beating. That's why his game has aged gracefully. And he really he's a point power forward. So there's many situations where you're going to see whoever they draft in the first round. I think I was just filling in Bobby on. Edie has really grown on me, and the matchups that you can create, the chaos you can create with that. Because if you draft an Edie, even if you draft a Ware, I believe they're going to go tall and athletic. And they might surprise me. They might go a different route because they have something else in mind. But I believe they want to unleash Bam, where Bam is still your most important defender, but now you can have him freelancing. Like, Bam can literally be, honestly, your best mid-perimeter defender, still in the low post. But then if you got Jovic and Edie rebounding, that's another thing that you ease Bam out of. And you don't, because Bam is exhausted. That people do not understand this. What the Heat require from Bam, and I'm going to put it to there this way, because the way they've built their roster, they've made Bam responsible for everything they do defensively. Bam is your driving force, but what happens when you ask a person to do everything and then to have an uptake offensively and be more of and then you run your offense through him, and he has to take X amount of shots and he has to be involved in everything, screen setting and dribble handoffs. It takes a toll on a player when he's picking up, realistically, the toughest player on the court on the opposite side, having to fight for loose balls and rebounds. He is your best defender. To me, he's the best defender in the NBA. And the fact that he didn't make All NBA, which is insane to me, but like I told you before the show, that actually is a blessing for the Heat because the Heat will offer him an extension, and I'm pretty sure he will sign it. But now he's not eligible for a super max extension, so that helps out the Heat. And I wish he was All NBA officially recognized because Bam is an All NBA player. That's why he's part of the Olympic team. Like, there's no reason he shouldn't be All NBA, at least second or third team. So the way they're going to unleash him differently, that's why the number one thing that when Pat said in his press conference that really hit home to me is when he said that we have to take a deep dive, like a deep dive even into the analytics, because people like to see numbers and they're like, oh yeah, like the Timberwolves are, for example, I'll use the Timberwolves. They're the number one rated defense in the NBA, but that number one rating is every category divided, and then you've made it out to one. But you can be number one in everything and be 20th in rebounding. But you're one in everything, so your numbers add up and you're the number one rated defense. But that's what I like, digging into those deep analytics, because you find a problem and you find a solution by looking at that problem. Teams are afraid of that. And I love when a coach and a president of basketball operations can sit down like Pat and Spo and respectfully, like kind of like the way me and you debate, where you just sit there and you're like, okay, we need to find a solution. This is our possible roster. How can we magnify this? Because some coaches are also stuck in their ways. And sometimes you might need to change personnel.
That was one of my things. Is I know what you were saying. Your potential starting lineup, if it's a if you think of Rozier at point and you think of Jimmy at the 2, Jovic at the 3.
Mitchell at point.
Mitchell at point.
We acquired Mitchell. Yeah,
Mitchell at point, Butler at the 2, Jovic at the 3, Bam at the 4 or 5, and then Edie, whatever, right? But because the league is getting bigger,
yes,
that's kind of where the route's going. But what does Coach Spo usually do? He's known for the small ball.
Yeah.
Thinking of going 7-4 for even I agree too. I think I'm still looking at because I'm really nervous. Like I told you, I'm nervous about picking a guy this year because I've gotten 2-0 already. I'm kind of nervous because I know about to lose it.
You feel responsibility to our listeners to get it
yeah,
right.
I don't, because I'm like,
Hey,
I'm always
okay.
right.
It's
But
okay.
I like Edie. I do.
I'm always right.
I'm
That's
always
awesome.
right.
Even if you get it wrong, that should be your sticking line.
That's it.
I'm always right, Bob. You got it wrong. Like you
I don't know
literally
why
got the
people
wrong
argue
pick.
with me. I've said that before, so I don't get it. But whatever, it's up to them.
I'm always right.
But Edie obviously, again, 7'4", 290 pounds. I think he's at now. I think that's what I saw.
He's a great shooter, by the way. He shoots just like Jovic, by the way. Like Jokic.
You see what Joker did. You see what Joker's done. And what Joker is, and I'm not gonna do that to the kid because I don't think that's fair.
No.
However, you see what he's able to do. You would want him if he was available to you. This is your chance. This is your opportunity. And you got a player already in place in Bam who can put him under his wing, figuratively, not literally, obviously.
Yeah.
But
he comes into a perfect situation.
He comes into a great situation because he's not expected to do, But imagine when it comes to playoff time, and look what Rudy Gobert and Anthony Towns was able to do to someone like the Joker, and you don't have those two guys, but you can get a guy who can come in here and I don't know, he is a good, decent defensive player. Offensively, he's a lot better. As you say, his footwork is really good. But I think once he gets in that conditioning program, you're going to get a player that potentially, and this is my thing.
He's a great screen setter. He is an amazing screen setter. And he's solid. So that's a selling point.
The Heat, in recent years, obviously, you think of Herro, Adebayo, Jovic, and Jaquez. They've been hitting.
They'll hit.
You think about Winslow and everything. Okay, that didn't happen, didn't work out, whatever. But those 4, those are hits. Those are freaking like gold. So when I think, and you said that it does move the needle. You didn't sound too sure, to be honest. With you. Here, when you said that Mitchell moves the needle, I didn't hear. I'm just telling you what I heard.
Yeah.
Okay, I heard your answer, but I know when you speak truth to power, when you speak truth, and to you it may be true, but to me it sounded like deep down inside, I don't think you really think he really moves the needle. I think you think more moves because this is how I feel. I know who he is, and it would be cool to have him. It'd be exciting to say, man, we got Mitchell because now you have a legit 1B, 2A, whatever next to Jimmy, vice versa, with Bam Adebayo. But you lost Duncan. You lost Tyler. You can say Tyler replaces Mitchell replaces Tyler. And he's better than Tyler. But then you lost Jaquez, let's say, for an example. And let's say you move your first round pick. I don't think the Heat are one player away. Unless you're talking someone like a KD, who just to give an example, KD, Kyrie, talking about that type of potential player, or an Anthony Edwards, which is fantasy, but whatever. That's a different story. Mitchell's great, or he's good, but he ain't them. And to me, the Heat are not a one player away.
Well, I think Mitchell can get you. Mitchell can get you there.
He get you, but he didn't get anybody there yet. That's my thing. He was just on a very good team. Come on, let's be real.
Good team.
He was on the Cavs.
Oh, yeah, I get you.
You know what I'm saying?
I get you that.
So that's what I'm saying. It's like, it's like I know what he is, but I don't think he puts you. When I say moves the needle, I'm saying, the Heat have been in the finals. They have gone the distance and lost against Lakers. They have gone against a team superior than them in Denver and lost. They never got over that hump. Mitchell doesn't put you over that hump.
But I'll put this scenario for you. Would you rather have Damian Lillard or Donovan Mitchell? Right now, the situation is the same contracts, age, and everything in time frames. Who would you rather have right now?
Well, see, who do I think? My answer would have to be who I consider to be the better player.
Okay.
I consider Damian Lillard the better player.
See,
Lillard
right now,
you put Lillard with Adebayo and Butler, and you take out. And I know what happened. First of all, Milwaukee's a mess. Milwaukee,
exactly. Team build. Damian's a killer. But what happened in Milwaukee?
What's up, Kevin? Anthony, everyone, Craig. Sorry, guys. I see you guys. I promise.
Team build is very important.
I know, but at the same time, though, you got to think about what moves the needle. And to me, I know what Lillard is. That dude is a bona fide. Of course, he's on the tail end.
But they tell you, what did he win in Portland? He's a killer, but what did he do by himself? Nothing.
What did he have though?
That's what we're talking about with Mitchell.
But Mitchell, I mean, he had a decent roster last year.
But a very young team, man. It's not the same as him coming now with
he only
Jimmy,
played 55 games. Yeah, but Jimmy's not going to last
different.
50 games, 40 games.
This year, Jimmy's going to play like 65 games. Watch.
Yeah, because he's have to make something up to.
No,
but then again,
man, it's not making up. His role's going to change a little bit. He's going to be more maintenance and all that.
If you're running the team, I would believe that. If you're running the team in regards of coaching, I'd believe that. Obviously, because it's coming from your mouth, but I believe it. But it's still Coach Spo, who we all say is one of the greatest coaches of all time. He is, but he is someone who's very set in his way.
He's going to change some things this year. I guarantee it.
How many years?
Because he's forced.
Not the times. I'm talking years. What?
Yeah. Time's forced. No, not forced by up. No, I don't mean forced by. You're forced with time where you adapt. Great coaches adapt and they learn. Spo was the one that went to Oregon to study the spread offense. Like he went. That's why he started pace and space.
My thing is, if it's me,
mm-hmm.
I don't think Donovan Mitchell moves the needle, especially if you're giving up a Robinson, a Herro, a Jaquez, and a first-round pick. Does not move the needle.
Remember, you're only giving up Robinson if you're acquiring Strus back.
Whatever.
If it's just Mitchell, it's going to be Herro, Jaquez, or Jovic, and first-round picks.
Again,
that's it.
And again,
that's it.
I don't like it. I don't feel good about it. I understand. Like in a perfect, like if you had a roster more capable and in a better position, it makes a lot of sense.
Now, I'll tell you this:
if you're Oklahoma,
mm-hmm.
makes sense. Oklahoma needs that. The Oklahoma City Thunder needed to make like what the Wolves done this season, what the Mavericks did this season, the Celtics. They are like we're gonna hold on to our draft picks, we're gonna hold on to our assets, and we're not gonna move anything. They are the perfect Alex and Tiaska team.
That's
hold on.
But you can move it in to acquire somebody if you want it.
That's what I'm saying. Now you have the roster.
Yeah.
That's a team that goes, okay, you know what? It's not going to kill us.
Utah has the same situation. Utah can do that too.
Sure. But again, let's talk about Oklahoma. They are in position to make that move and not kill us. Minnesota has proven, because we talked about it. We were together when the Rudy Gobert news went down, whether it was person on the phone or whatever it was. We were talking about it, and I remember you're like, dude, I don't know why they would make this move instead of bite him in the head. And it's worked out. Because they were in position to do it. They were in position. To me, I don't think the Heat are.
But what did they do?
The Heat are in a place now they can't really, because to me, it's like, unless you're going to get a guy that's truly going to be that piece that says, oh, they could beat a Boston, Mitchell's not that guy.
I would argue that if Miami, when the whole Rudy Gobert move came, it didn't work until, first of all, they had a coaching change and they changed their philosophy where they handed the offense to Anthony Edwards and Cat was no longer the primary focus, which I think that's why there's going to be change. Even if we don't acquire Mitchell, let's say Mitchell right now comes and says, I'm signing my extension with Cleveland. That's it. All this is done. There's no Mitchell opportunity anymore. Done. Gone. Now you pivot and people might ask about Paul George, Brandon Ingram. There's a few possibilities of names that could come up, which realistically, our neighbors up north, I think Orlando Magic might be a dark horse in a Brandon Ingram situation and a Paul George situation. Because, for example,
they could do it. Again, that's a team that could make a move for a Mitchell, and it's not really going to set them back. It's going to help them move ahead. Because they have where the Heat are a team that we know they've been to the final. We know what they could do if everyone's healthy and whatever. But still, with their best two guys on the court last year, they couldn't get it done. A couple years back, we know Dragic was hurt. We could say there all day. Dragic was there. We made it. Went the distance with the Lakers.
It really sucked. It really sucked. It happens. It happens.
But to me, you really want to help this team move a little bit ahead. There's nobody really available that you could say clearly
not right now.
Put you over you over the hump. But I think that you say Brandon Ingram. Let's say it's Herro and Ingram, and you throw an extra piece in there, whether it's a pick, that's a straight up, but you keep Jaquez, you keep a Jovic. That's a good move. You're not really taking two steps back to try to take a jump forward. You know that's not a lateral move because you could plug this guy. Then you got your real, because if you got Jovic and then you got Brandon Ingram,
yeah, and I would start Terry. I start Terry and I start Jimmy.
Now
it could
now
work.
We're talking. Now that makes sense because then you got Robinson dangling over here. You could go get another 2 or 3 guys to help balance you out.
You know what's insane? We just have to pay. Obviously, Mitchell.
That's the route I go.
Mitchell's still priority number one. The Heat are not going to do anything until they know for sure what happens with Mitchell, and that's going to be right now after the finals.
Kevin Durant, Damian Lillard.
Well,
don't do that. If Miami does that again, it's a disaster.
No. They're not going to. What I meant to say was they're not going to wait the whole summer. But the Mitchell situation will be resolved quickly. Why? Because he's going to sign his extension, or he's not going to sign his extension.
So this is interesting. I know I've seen this a little bit.
That's an option.
I haven't heard from you on this.
Yes,
so I would like to hear because I would like your opinion on this with Trae Young. Obviously, he's a guy on a team that's young.
Yes.
Hungry. We know what he can do.
Yes.
He's been. We've shut him up a couple times. The Heat. He's played, but he has that. He has that character.
Yes.
Of a Heat guy.
He's a killer.
You put him with Bam and Jimmy.
Yes,
and he fits right in with those guys with a Jaquez and so forth.
People don't see this,
but tell me,
would
this make sense?
It would make sense, but I know it's not priority number one. But it will be a nice fit. Defensively, he's a liability. Mitchell's a better defender than Trae Young, but Trae Young's an elite passer. Trae Young is one of the best passers in the NBA, and he's only 6'1" or 6 feet. So I know the league is going size-wise, but I would have no problem with Trae Young, because he's an elite shooter, a volume shooter if you need it to be. But his game perfectly, he's basically like a Duncan Robinson coming off screens, and he's super elusive, super quick. He's a decent team defender. Okay, he's not horrible, but he's a liability. If you're gonna have him, I will start Jimmy at the 2. You need a defense. I'm telling you, Jimmy this year, I see him like in the break. I believe the Heat are gonna push pace, so Jimmy's gonna have maybe reduced minutes, maybe 1 or 2 minutes less, but he's gonna be in a different role, man. Like I just see it in regards to the way we'll play, where Trey's an elite passer. He's gonna find with the pick and roll with Bam will be off the charts. The pick and roll with Jovic will be off the charts. Jaime coming off the bench because in that, we'll probably would have to trade either Jaime or Jovic to make it work, or maybe Herro and Robinson. I believe I believe a package that we might push is Herro and Robinson. I know the Heat are going to try to do everything they possibly can to keep Jaquez and Jovic. So our big package that they'll push this year is Herro, Robinson, and 2 first-round picks, or like a swap and all that. They'll try to push that into it. Because we'll keep our first round pick this year. We'll keep our second round pick, and we have our core. We generally have our core long term.
We can't move our first round pick this year.
We can only move it after we draft. So, for example, we have a trade agreed to. We have to make the pick for the team and then move them, because it's against the CB the cap rules that you can trade picks consecutively in consecutive years. We made our pick last year, but we don't own our right to our pick fully next year. OKC has the right to swap it if it's better or whatnot. So we don't owe the rights to 2025 outright. So unless we make, for example, we call OKC, we trade a future second round pick, and they lift the restrictions on the first round pick next year, then we can move our pick this year. So that all depends.
All right. Well, right now, 3 minutes, 28 seconds remaining in the third period for the Florida Panthers, who are now up 2-0 against the Rangers.
Wow,
so
man. Bro, Panthers,
good,
Panthers this year look.
Oh, they look dominant.
Oh, man. And they changed their way of – it's insane, man. It's insane.
Let me tell you something. The Wolves versus the Mavericks looks like it's a blast right now.
How's it
Wolves
going?
were down 98-94 against the Mavericks just a minute ago from you and I talking.
And now they're up like 10.
No, they're up by 1 right now, 99-98.
Oh.
They were 98-94. Now they're 99-98 with 4 minutes, 39 seconds remaining.
Did you see the game?
And Kyrie are at both 28 apiece. Gafford and PJ Washington both at 10 apiece. Yeah. So, and of course, Derek Jones, our old
man, you know what? That's one player I wish we would have never let go, but he became too expensive, and we didn't sign him. He was perfect.
He's having himself a game right now.
Bro, Jaden McDaniels is a defensive juggernaut, man.
24 points, 5 rebounds, 3 assists. Edwards is 16 points, 9 rebounds, 8 assists. And then Gobert 12-7-1. Anthony Towns 16-7-2. And then Naz Reid is another one, man. He's had a solid postseason. 13-4-2, 11, 1-2. Whoa. Any chance
Kevin,
Bucks entertain
yes,
being a trade?
that could be relit because Milwaukee has to rebuild, man. They don't have people. Oh, they made the Drew trade and all that, and we got Dame. Yeah, that's great, but if you don't have the proper pieces in place, and Brooke is only getting older. Middleton stepped up, but he's only getting older. So your nucleus is getting older, and you don't have any route of getting younger. And that's why I don't envy the Buck situation. I know you got Giannis to sign the extension again because you acquired Dame, but that limited your. And then you hired Doc as your coach, which to me, I'm happy. I'm happy Bodenholzer got the Phoenix job, but for example, every coach is getting the blame. That wasn't Frank Vogel's fault that the Suns didn't succeed. You traded for Beal. You're stuck with his contract, and the owner, to me, Ishba, he's gonna end up having to trade either Durant or Booker eventually because the way that team is going, they basically right now have to wait out. Bradley Beal will become a huge asset when his last year of his contract is up because he becomes tradable at that point. That's with his no trade clause if he waives it. If you kind of entice him to go to a contender, because that's why Miami, people don't realize that. Bradley Beal would have cost you the least amount of assets, but it came with he wasn't going to waive his no trade clause. So you can't move him. You're stuck with him. I mean, Don't get me wrong. We could have used Bradley Beal the right way. Don't get me wrong. He still could have averaged 20 points with us. But it's a situation where I don't want a 34, 35-year-old making $50 million and I can't move him. That's not productive in this day and age. And people do not realize this, man. And I'm telling you, this summer, you're going to see a lot of moves, a lot of teams resetting cap-wise because a lot of teams are young, they're up and coming, but they're going away from those 3 mega max contracts. You can't.
Well, the NBA is going to make it impossible now.
Yeah, with the aprons,
we can only do two max players and even maybe just one max player.
With the apron restrict, you're going to be able to do 2, but it's going to take major team building because the apron rules, for example, you can't aggregate players for trades if you're above the second apron. That's why teams are going to try to stay only above the first apron. Very few teams. Look, what are second apron teams? Celtics and Phoenix. That's their team. They can't sign any buyout candidates. They can't trade multiple players. They can't match up salaries. So, for example, if Celtics wanted to trade Porzingis, right?
Rio, Florida.
Oh, man. Empty net goal?
Must be. At 102, 101, Minnesota.
Minnesota? Bro, that series is nice, man. That series is nice.
Either way, we'll see how that plays out.
Yeah, it's funny because now the cool thing is after the finals, teams can offer their max contracts already to players that are eligible. So, for example, after the finals, Miami can call Bam, hey, we offer you a 3-year, 165. You accept? Perfect. Boom. Gone. Obviously, the agents do all that. So by the time that comes, agents are always talking to. You have an idea of situations, but it doesn't become official until after the finals in the offseason. But teams already have. That's why you start hearing rumors of what teams will want to have. And all of a sudden you start hearing reports, oh, he might be, or they start posting on social media, shit like that, because it's always happening in the backdrop, always in the background. And then it just becomes official the time the restrictions are lifted.
Very quick, we'll run through Anthony's question here, and then we'll roll out and keep going. 104-102 now for Dallas is up by 2 with 1 minute, 49 seconds. So
nice.
Alex, what I can see happening is Miami drafting 2 guards from Europe, Juan Nunez and Nikolai Jurasek at 15 and 46. What are your thoughts? I will just say this. I'll just say this. I see Miami going big one way, either 15 or 46, and going combo guard, either one as well.
Mm-hmm.
That's the way I see it. Whether it's a center, I think they should go that route, or a big 4, 6'10". There's I'm forgetting his last name right now. Tristan. There's one guy there. There's a few.
One of the ones that I love is Kylian Ware, the one from
the center, right?
Yes.
So let me see. Tristan Da Silva is the one.
Da Silva?
Da Silva from Colorado.
Yeah.
He's one. There's another one from France. There's another 4. Edie's out of Purdue. That's who Kevin was talking about earlier.
Yeah, correct.
Thank you, Tristan Da Silva. Waiting for Bobby's pick. Stop it, Kevin. Stop it. You got to wait for draft night I'm not comfortable to make any picks right now, and I don't know if I will. I'm giving a bunch of names, and I'll hit on one. No, I'll do it. I'm nervous as hell right now. I truly am. I'm like, this sucks.
You let us down, Bobby. You let us down.
On the line. Streak on the line. But anywho, so let's move on here. And hey, very quick, we're gonna move on. We'll talk some because we'll talk. My son's birthday today. We'll talk about coaching our kids and organized sports, and we'll move out. But the Marlins, man, what's that like? They've had some good games lately. Close games, fun games, walk-offs. Josh Bell, I think my favorite player right now. Emmanuel Rivera doing really well. There's a rookie out of right field. I'm watching the games. I'm able to watch the games, Alex, thanks to you, of course. You hooked me up with that app.
You're welcome.
I love that I'm able to do that. I'm like, man, I want to watch Marlins, and they're playing. So, holy crap, wait a second.
I can do it.
I can do it. I'm watching them. God, this is what's his name, man? Oh crap. What's
rookie
right fielder? Yeah, he hit a home run, and he made an amazing play at right field. Diving catch,
rookie.
amazing.
I gotta see. I don't even know.
But
I haven't watched their last games, but did he just get called up?
Oh gosh, I did not see. So Sixto Sanchez.
Yes. Yes.
I didn't see Skip. Oh, Skip. I thought you thought Skip Bayless talking about the manager.
No. Skip Schumacher. Yeah.
So no, he's 100% right. I'm glad he did. First of all, he has nothing to lose. He's not going to be here next year, which I hate. But Sanchez, that's BS, man. I was livid. I sat down with Tristan. Tristan wants to play baseball. He just got done with football. He got basketball coming. He wants to do baseball now.
That's cool, man. He likes.
No, I love it, dude. I love it, man. Cool. Yeah, I appreciate it. I that's something that, but
you enjoy.
Oh, 100%.
And really you do.
But it's like, damn, another one. But okay. But no. So he's really into it right now. We play baseball, the game. We talk baseball, and it helps me too to get back into it because I can watch. I used to watch it. You and I were into it when the Marlins were winning championships. So, but anyway, Sixto Sanchez is probably like. But, the way I was telling Vivito, my father-in-law, the only reason why that guy's starting is because we had those injuries with Yuri Perez and Sandy,
and
right?
Sandy Alcantara.
Yeah, so that's the only reason, because that guy's more like a relief pitcher. But my God, you cannot have that opportunity to start a game and you play like that to start the game.
Sixto Sanchez was the prospect, the top-tier prospect that we acquired when we traded Realmuto to the Phillies.
JT Realmuto,
he which you know what, we've had bad luck with the catchers we trade.
Christian Yelich, he was not a catcher.
Talk to me.
But you see what I'm saying?
God,
what the hell? Like Miguel Cabrera, Christian Yelich.
Notice we traded Miguel Cabrera, bro. We traded Miguel Cabrera for nothing. We traded Miguel Cabrera and Dontrelle Willis.
And you go recent. You talk about the guys we just talked about recent. You think of what the hell's this guy's name now? For the Yankees, Giancarlo Stanton. Guys that are names that you could. This guy could be in your ballpark. He's your name, even if you suck. This guy is your name, and you moved him. No. Or you could have had these guys and been a legitimate team.
I got to give him credit. I know it sucks because this. You know what? I compare this kind of to like the Dolphins. When the Dolphins did certain moves these past years, if you remove the fandom and the frustration of fans, like if any other franchise would have done the rebuild that the Dolphins did, you're kind of like, oh, okay, cool, yeah. Marlins have the history that precedes them, where you know what they're doing. Okay, they were not going to sign Luis Arias to an extension, so you got really good prospects for him, and they're performing well. So that wasn't a bad trade in regards to the fact that you weren't going to sign him, but to the fans, he's your all-star. You traded Pablo Lopez for him, one of your best pitchers. So you move him again, and then now the Marlins, the Miami Herald is not going to cover them fully. They're going to have sporadic people covering them. So that's they're losing interest on the team. And you know what sucks, man? that stadium, and when you see the World Baseball Classic, that stadium is packed. You have the stadium in Little Havana. That is baseball capital over here in Miami, for everybody that knows. You have Hispanics that live there, a lot of Cubans. Like you can magnify that, but the fans feel betrayed by the team, and it sucks because they have talent, man. Like you mentioned, if Yuri's not hurt, if Sandy's not hurt, that's a playoff team this year. Like we were a playoff team, so the start kind of damned it a little bit, but there's talent in that team. So it's just going to take time.
When you look at what they're doing now and able to pull out these type of wins that they're doing,
their drafting has been mediocre in the past. That's going to change, though. That's going to change with Peter Bendix.
Well, we'll see with Bendix. That's one of my, and again, I'm not hating on him. It's the Marlins. It's crazy that with two owners and they make these trades because they don't want to re-sign players. They want to stay cheap.
Yeah.
But when you had, and that's the thing I agree with like Barry Jackson and so forth of the Miami Herald, you had the city pay basically the citizens
$2 billion. Yeah.
With promise that we're going to put a winning franchise, a baseball team, a winning baseball team, and
they promised middle tier payroll. That's what their setting point. They promised that we were going to be competitive and have middle tier payroll.
There should be penalties. They should have. The city of Miami, and even Major League Baseball should have made penalties. Like if you don't put a competitive roster, and we know things happen, injuries, players don't turn out the way they're going to be, but you're not literally freaking tanking every damn year, and you can't even draft well. And I don't even know if there's tanking in baseball, but
there's tanking in baseball.
Okay, so when you're literally because you just cheap as hell.
Yeah.
They should have said, you know what, dude, we paid you all this money to build the stadium so you could stay here and you put a winning baseball, and you haven't done that. And you're not actively doing it. When you traded your best player, which, again, it's Luis Reyes, and we know how good he was and, one of the best hitters in baseball, et cetera, contact hitters, you moved him. He's your top player because you don't want to re-sign him. What's the end plan?
This right here, unfortunately, there's a lot of politicians. Well, every politician is bought, okay? A lot of people made money off that stadium deal that are no longer in power here in the city of Miami. Just like even our mayor right now has made deals that has empowered himself a lot. And that the citizens know that. People see that. So now the thing is, with the Marlins, Bruce Sherman gets the team, right? Jorge Mas was trying to buy the team. Okay? They forced
him not to do it with Inter Miami.
Exactly.
Look what he's done in a short amount of time with Inter Miami. We know Beckham was there, but Beckham has been there. Beckham was there.
Beckham is your face, but Mas
that's magic.
That's the thing, man. What you need? I don't like these team owners that just buy a team because I'm a fan of the team, and that's Bruce Sherman, Jeffrey Loria. They're fans, okay? What a team like the Marlins needs in an organization is kind of like what Steve Ballmer did for the Clippers. Steve Ballmer has all the money in the world. He's a fan, but what has he done? Even their new arena. Have you seen their new arena? In Intuit Dome that they're opening next year? Like he's invested everything into that team. He's made them live again. He noticed the team. He removes them from the Staples Center, and he's like, this team needs its own home. Like we're not going to share a home with anybody. Miami Marlins need somebody, but obviously Bruce Sherman is not gonna sell the team realistically because even with the profit sharing and Major League Baseball, he's making money.
But that's my thing. I don't.
That's
you
the
say
thing.
Loria and Sherman are fans. My thing is, I don't see them as that. I see them as somebody. A fan owner to me is Stephen Ross. Even though he wasn't a Dolphin, he is a fan. He wants the team to win. He throws all the money on the roster. You could what he's been able to build with the stadium, what he's done for the city.
The city owes
what
him
he's
a
been
lot.
able to do.
Yes.
That's the type of owner you would want
Yeah.
for the Marlins. Somebody who wants the team to actually win. Okay, we need a winner. Tell me how we could do that, sir. We need to go out.
Did you see that picture online that they did the comparison of Pro Player Stadium and the way the stadium looks now?
No.
They did like what's the I think it was titled like what Stephen Ross has done or the way this has changed. They have a picture of the old Pro Player Stadium that I remember it was just a bowl and then all the green areas for parking. And then they have a picture of the Formula One track and then the new Dolphins facility, the training facility and all, and the office.
Beautiful.
when you drive by that, man, like that's Steven Ross, man. That's Steven Ross.
That's what he's done.
Like,
but again, the Marlins have a beautiful stadium now. That city,
amazing.
The citizens have paid for that.
Yeah,
half of that or whatever. But
no,
what's the product on the field? What's the product on the field? It's shit.
That's the thing.
And that's the thing. So, like, for instance, Bruce Sherman and Laurie are fans. No, they're investors. That is an investment. They're making money off of that.
And Bruce Sherman is only the majority owner. He only owns like 40% of the team. Like, he doesn't own the team outright. He has a set of investors.
Yeah, to me, it's like they need to get someone in there who, like a Moss or a Ross or whomever.
Bro, Jeff Bezos or the guy, Ken Griffin, the one that wanted to buy the Dolphins. I wish Ken Griffin would buy the Miami. Oh, my God. I'm not even going to tell you. Just Google him. Ken Griffin is one of the richest people.
Yeah, but here's the thing with that. So the guy, you're talking about the guy recently? Was it the recent guy trying to buy the Dolphins? Yeah, him. Okay.
Yeah.
So I don't know anything about him, hedge fund owner, whatever. I'm so happy this guy didn't get the Dolphins, and I'll tell you why. This guy screams investor. This guy screams, I'm an investor. I'm buying a team to just get money. If he would have went to the Dolphins, he's just buying all this. No. I want a guy who's coming in, guy or woman, I don't give a damn. Someone who's going to legitimately want to come in and go, I want to put a winner on the baseball field. But we're talking about baseball, on the baseball field.
Yeah.
We're going to draft well. We're going to sign well. I'm going to raise the freaking budget to a higher budget because the fans in Miami, the city of Miami, the Marlins organization, not just the manager and whomever, the employees.
Yeah.
It's something like Mike McDaniel said. When you think of the Dolphins, you don't think of the chefs or the janitors or the people working or the ticket sales, whatever. You're thinking about the team. You're thinking about the coaches, the owner. That's all you think of. But there's guys that have been there for 30 plus years, 20, 10, 15, whatever, that have been through hell. And Mike McDaniel was like, I want to be this guy who wins those people a ring. I want to be the reason, paraphrasing. We need that type of owner. We need that type of guy. Look
at the situation with Glenn Taylor and the Timberwolves. Glenn Taylor agrees to sell the team to A-Rod. And was it Jeff Lover, the other investor? And they have a contract in place that they were going to pay it in installments. And now, when he agreed to it, he was selling the Timberwolves for $1.5 billion. So he agreed to that price. They locked that price. And now the value of the team is close to $3 billion. So he's losing a $1.5 billion of value, of worth. So now he's trying to go back on the deal on technicalities and all that. But it looks like they're going to pass over to A-Rod. And the other, I think, is it Mark Lover? I forgot the other guy's name.
Well, A-Rod is there. I see him at the game.
He's there.
But you see, that I don't understand what happened with Jeter, and whatever. But like A-Rod is a winner. He's a player. He wants to win. You see the energy on like you see that. Like as a fan, of a team, like we don't have to worry about that with I'm forgetting Harrison. We know what he does.
Oh yeah.
We know that about Ross. The issue with Ross is who he puts in the front office, etc. The decisions he's made. Hopefully, it's getting right this year. Hopefully, we can sit there and say, "Hey," but that's his issue. It's not that he doesn't try. He puts his money where his mouth is. He does his best. He tries to bring in people to help win the team. It just hasn't worked out. That's it. He's not a bad owner. It's just what it is. He's made bad decisions. That's what happens when you're running an organization. It's the Marlins, Sherman, Loria. It's just what the hell is going on? And you got
I'll give Peter Bendix 2 years to see what his plan is.
My thing is, and that's fair. I would be comfortable with that if this team was not a playoff team last year. This team was a playoff team last year. You let go of your general manager because you want to hire someone above her for some stupid reason. Mm-hmm. Then you're telling your manager who brought you to the playoffs, who's a badass manager, a good manager, gets the best out of a lot of good players, who out of a roster he shouldn't, and you're going to let him leave after this year.
Well, that was requested by Skip because
I would request it too if I was with the Marlins.
It was a club option, so he asked to them renounce the club option right away. That doesn't mean he's going to leave. Most likely he will. He can still sign long term, but most likely he'll get an offer.
That would be
He's going to get an offer somewhere else, bro.
Of course he will. And the Marlins will, but yeah, they should have kept
probably
Kim.
Closer to his house, like
they should
to the West Coast.
Yeah, they should have kept Kim. But we'll see. Who knows? This guy is supposedly smart. He knows what he's doing, but so far hasn't looked good. It hasn't looked good. And you start to trade off your best players, and and then you get these assets, and it's like we've been through this. How many years?
You see, this is the perfect example. I'm not saying that we're going to be as successful. When the Houston Astros did it, if you Google right now, Houston Astros record, we know that they won the 2 World Series. They went to 7 straight ALCSs. Before that, they had 3 or 4 100 loss seasons, plus 100 losses. They were tanking. They were rebuilding. They did it. People saw the plan. When the Marlins do it, all we can think of is, here we go again, another fire sale.
And that's fair.
That's fair.
The problem. We don't know if
that
it's a plan or whatnot. Problem. But that's the thing. To them, it's a plan. To us, it's just another.
For us, it's history.
That's right. This is the Marlins. We've won championships. What do? They gut the team and they try again. And
that one, bro, that one hurt, man. Huizenga, when he did that in '98, there was no necessity for him to do that.
It was just
stupidity. Because he was making money at that time. He owned Blockbuster. He owned Waste Management.
They need to have like an ownership group where it's like, like kind of like the Packers, where the fans own the team or something like that.
Well, yeah, that's crazy, man. How the way the Packers are ran, that's insane.
Yeah. They have a CEO, they have whatever, but the fans,
they have a board. They have like a board of trustees or something like that.
That's
like a company.
And look at them. If the Marlins, one guy is going to tell us, "Oh, sorry, we're going to cut the expenses. I'm going to trade your best player and let's save money." What? You don't even have you're looking at your mid-tier ass budget. You're not saving any money,
man.
You're making yourself more money.
And the thing is, with what hurt me about them not giving the team or not allowing Moss to buy the team was that Moss is a Miami born and raised man, and their company is one of the largest in the United States, Mastech, from his dad.
Fans are complaining about so much because you're saying Moss is from Miami. I think that would have been great because of where he's from and who he is.
Of course.
You need a guy from the city to run it. And he's running Inter Miami right now.
Yeah.
And look what they're doing. They're the freaking talk. I'm telling you, I don't know how many kids I've seen
with Messi jerseys.
With Messi jerseys, uniforms on.
The whole United States, MLS. That's why they're paying. That's why everybody's paying Messi. And
Messi's that guy. But that's right. But who's the one?
Beckham and Moss. Yes.
That's what it is. So
and you push it. That's the dream. That's the vision. Like there's no limit. An owner can limit you or give you endless possibilities. And I really felt that in Miami. I'm not saying it would have been different, but I'm pretty sure we would have had some long-term deals done. We would have had more talent acquisition because they're making this year. I got to give it to the Marlins. They're making a more Miami feel to it, more Hispanic feel to it.
That's what I was going to talk about because I love that.
Yes.
On the outside looking in, I was like, man, if I go, I know I'm going to enjoy that.
Oh, yeah.
The music,
sure.
the atmosphere, because it feels like Miami, feels like home. There are some people down there that I've seen complaining that it's too Hispanic. All it is Spanish. There's no, the music, the voice, the audio, blah, 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 blah. What are you talking about? That's Miami.
Yeah.
That's Miami.
Yeah.
If you want to hear English, go to a Panthers game, go to a Heat game, go to a Dolphins game. The Marlins are in where they are located, what they're trying to do. They're trying to be that team. Because guess what? Regular baseball fans are not going to want to go unless there's the Classic. Going to want to go to that stadium. But the Hispanic kids growing up who love baseball, it's cheap to go to that stadium.
Yes.
They go there. They're familiar with the atmosphere, the moms, the abuelas, the abuelos, the parents. They want to go because it feels like home to them.
Yeah. And you know what's cool? And
that
we've talked
to me,
about
that's
this.
not where the Marlins are losing. It's play. It's the field.
What is really cool in regards to when it comes to generational fandom, right now, it sucks because of the struggles of them. But the Marlins, due to them beginning play in '93, our generation is the first generation of fans that will be introducing their kids really to it, that grew as fans. Because our generation was introduced to by our parents, but our parents didn't grow up watching them. Our parents started watching them when they started playing.
Yeah.
So we are the first generation that started since they were little, and it's the generational cycle, which is like every 20 years. Like
what year
now,
would the Marlins come here? What year was it? 90?
inaugural season was 93.
93.
Yeah.
And the Heat were 88.
The Panthers too. Panthers were
Think about
93
that.
too. Remember,
Three of
Huizenga
our
owned
home
both of them.
teams. 3 of our home teams.
Yeah, we were just football.
That's right. And
We
3
were
of our
just
home
Miami
teams
Dolphins and
we grew
Miami
up with.
Hurricanes.
We've
Yeah.
grown up with the Heat, the Marlins, and the Panthers.
Yes, yes.
The Dolphins were way ahead. They were in the 60s.
You see, the Dolphins were introduced to us by our grandparents, by our parents.
Mhm.
That's a tradition there, which is awesome. It's like the Yankees and the Red Sox. That's what you've always aspired to have. The Cubs, like teams where, my grandfather. I remember going to the game with my grandfather and sitting in right field or whatever. Those are the traditions that you feel and you see. So, I mean, hopefully they can right the ship. What he says and what I like about what Peter Bendick says is continuous organizational success, like long term. Like we don't want a short term fix. You got to develop
again,
talent.
like you said,
So
2-3 years.
We'll
have it. Go for it. Hopefully,
this is 100%. The Panthers did it. The Panthers were dying out here. There was no fans, nothing. They hired the right GM. They built the right way. And what did the Panthers do? They drafted very well. They traded when they need to, and they extended when they need to. Look, they traded Jonathan Herro. It had to be done, and I loved Herro, but it had to be done. And now they were able to sign. With Kachuk, they're probably going to re-sign. I want to see what they do with oh my God, who's a free agent now? Shit, they're one of their top linemen. Now I completely blanked out on his name. Man, is it Bennett? No. Oh my God, that he scored over like 50-something goals this year. I'm completely losing. Oh my God, that he's a free agent after this. Hold on, let me look it up. I can't end it without me knowing. Man, how did I forget this guy's name all of a sudden?
Let me tell you something very quick. I'll let you get back
on
to
air.
it.
But go ahead.
Inside the NBA, TNT.
Oh,
that sucks, man.
I want to see if they find a way to hire or to create a show where maybe like on what do you call this? Like DraftKings networks or something. Because Ernie's gonna stay in TNT, but everybody else has clauses.
But here's the thing: it's like just you take any one of them out, it just doesn't feel the same.
No. You have to keep them together. That's for sure.
I just think it's such
Sam Reinhart, number 13.
Yeah.
Sorry, I'm like I can't just not know his name, bro. That guy's a stud, man. That guy's a stud. He's gonna get paid
to lose those two guys, but anyway, Marlins have won. Was it 7 out of their last 10? And it shows Urban Meyer on his knees, and it goes Peter Bondage, the GM. It shows him on his knees, like because they're winning, But gonna miss Chuck and Shaq. Replace Ernie with Rich Eisen.
Man, and you know what's crazy? They had a good thing going with Adam Lefko. Lefko's really funny, but now TNT. That's the thing. They lost basketball, so NBC is probably going to hire a lot of talent. NBC is probably going to hire Van Gundy, Mark Jackson. Like they're going to hire a lot of talent. And we grew up on NBC.
No, I know that. That. John Tesh, who I used to listen to on the radio, he's the one who made that song.
Yeah.
But I was reading the headline when they were like, what was it? ABC, Disney, which is really ESPN.
Yeah.
That's where like I saw the other guys. I was like, NBC.
They'll try to hire Chuck and all that.
ESPN. When I saw ESPN, I'm like, that made my stomach turn. The ESPN is, and I respect ESPN, like ESPN. I grew up watching ESPN. It is so damn bad in basketball coverage. It's terrible. Tim Legler. He was just talking recently. He was like,
about the Indiana Pacers. Yes.
Yeah, I've been wanting to talk about the Pacers. They've been telling me,
yes,
they're just there's nothing that attracts them. So I think they're boring.
They're
boring. It's like that. You're covering the NBA.
Yes.
That's team 1 to team 30. You are covering the NBA. I don't give a damn if it's the Pelicans, the Blazers, the freaking Magic. You go to the crappiest team.
in
the NBA. Your job is to cover that team.
And don't get me wrong. that's why national televised games. Yeah, of course, you want viewership up, you want endorsements up, you want because you're selling commercials. That's how these leagues make their money. That's how these networks make their money. You're selling airtime, so you want the public out there. You want viewership up. So yeah, you're gonna know. You can know for sure LeBron's gonna get every televised game. You know the Knicks are gonna get televised game. The Lakers. So yes, there's certain teams that the league prefers to be always good because they sell. They're the big fan base, but I believe it should be an equal share. Or honestly, even with the NBA inside the NBA, I don't know. We have one more year for sure.
One more year.
I wonder if they can do some sort of contract where you can keep the guys together, like a simulcast or an independent network. The only problem is when you have an independent network, you don't have the rights for the film to show. Like that's why if you don't have the rights, you can't show film. Or I believe that's one of the laws. You can't show the footage of the game as part of your highlights and all that. So that's the part that sucks.
Ronald,
yeah, streaming
how
service.
How would you feel if Fox or MSNBC got rights to NBA games? It depends on who's covering the games.
That's the thing, because
it might be interesting. That might be interesting, right?
Everything good comes to an end. But if they have a plan and they're going to hire people, kind of like what Amazon does when they hired Al Michaels and all that.
Fox News. Let's say Fox News is covering NBA games.
Oh my God!
How would you feel? MSNBC or Fox News? I think it would depend on who's covering it, because we have feelings. But hey,
for example, Fox covers baseball, covers football, so it all depends on who they hire.
Fox
News.
Yeah, let's make it interesting.
Oh no, they wouldn't get into that. That's crazy.
Alex,
CNN coverage.
Yeah, full hypothetical. No, I'm not actually saying it. Let Ronald bring up something fun and interesting to me.
That'd be hilarious.
Look.
Newsmax.
Bill O'Reilly. I don't think Bill O'Reilly's on Fox News anymore, but remember, you and I, we love Bill O'Reilly. He's hilarious.
It was funny. He was funny, bro.
Can you imagine him? I know Will Kane is a part of Fox News, I think. So
yeah,
Will Kane I can listen to. I like Will Kane. But
Wolf Blitzer. Wolf Blitzer being the play-by-play announcer.
Oh my gosh. Well, Draymond
to the Situation Room. No, Wolf, we're doing basketball. What are you doing, bro?
Let's recap the Heat versus the Bulls. To the Situation Room. We could declare the Heat have won.
We can project. During halftime, you start projecting
20
winners.
Points in the first quarter, and you add the 15 here, and you go
the percentage. 85% of the game has been played. We're going to project. The Nets are going to win.
All right. So, yeah, I just won't touch on that. But anyway, about an hour and 40 minutes in, but I did want to touch on something very quick too. We were talking about it earlier, and I was like, man, we got to talk about this. Just kids, man, because you and I, you were saying it earlier, and it's so true, and it goes for both of us, not just me. But we are always so freaking busy. I mean, and everybody is, and I don't like saying that to go oh, I'm more busy. No, but just a day in our lives, right? For me, obviously, full-time job, full-time husband, full-time father. Taking my kids to school, to the doctor, my dog. You got the network, which again, it's not, some people treat it as hobby. I don't treat it as a job.
Yeah.
You know that. And,
I know.
And then of course, coaching my son's basketball team, then coaching my son's football team. It's a never ending cycle. But people ask me, my gosh, don't you want to break? No, when it comes to coaching, like my son's football team, basketball team, and, hopefully my daughter soon, I know she has taken an interest in basketball, and Audrey, I would do it because first off, I love sports. I love doing it. I love being involved in it. And so even though, I think flag football, I think if the kids are older, but flag football, I'm going to tear my hair out sometimes, but it's just what it is. Where basketball it seemed like it was easier to get to them. And it's just so funny that I could explain basketball, the fundamentals and whatever, easier than I took these young kids compared to the same age group, but with football. Run that way. Don't throw the ball down. Don't catch like this. Catch like this. Hold like this. Pick it up here. Don't hit your flag. Don't run out of bounds. Run straight ahead. Do not stop until you hear the whistle.
Yeah.
And never cut on.
Yeah.
And I love those kids. Those kids are great. My son Tristan got smashed twice.
Oh, yeah?
Twice in 2 games, Alex.
Holy shit.
You and I are the same. when it comes to, first off, I don't like over drama. I don't like over dramatic. You hurt yourself if it's legitimate. Come on, what do you need? What happened? Whatever. Well, you start, and all this crap. Get up, stop. And I don't know what it is. I don't know. It's just because, maybe I handle pain differently and I never do that, or maybe we're embarrassed. I'm not sure why we react the way we do. It's just what it is, different.
This is bravado that we have.
It's what it is. I mean, I don't know what it is, but I know you and I are both that way.
Yeah.
So, and I'll give you an example. So the first time, we're playing a game. Tristan, I think it was a defensive play, or I don't know, or offense. I'm not sure. Anyway, it was in the action. And even though it's flag, these kids get rough. So the play happens, big stop, awesome defense. It was defense. I'm going, great job, guys. Blah, 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 talking to you. And I tell Tristan, and I see, but then all of a sudden it stops. The whistle blows. There's a kid bigger than Tristan, 8 years old, whatever. He's crying, hysterical. Him and Tristan ran into the wall together, crying, hysterical. And I tell Tristan, I'm like, dude, what happened? He goes, oh, his knee ran into my face or something. And I'm like, yo, you're right. And he's like, oh yeah. And he's like, and I didn't even see it at first, but he went, I'm ready to go. Let's go. So, all right. The kid gets carried off the field because his knee hit Tristan's face, but he's crying. His leg hurts. He gets carried off the field. Am I boring you?
No. I was reading something right now.
Anyway, let me just end the story now.
No, go ahead.
Just like my marriage, I can't get a freaking word in. It's like totally annoying. Anyway, I feel heard. Next play goes down. The kid gets carried off. Okay. Next play goes down. Tristan now is on the floor and he's holding his knee and he's banging the floor and everyone, and he blow the whistle and everybody runs up to him. Are you okay? And of course, here I'm just walking. And he goes, I go, can you come out? He goes, no, I'm okay. I go, no, you're getting out. Go sit down. He goes, no, I'm okay. I go, no, what's wrong? My knee. I go, if you're going to make that much of a scene, sit down.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. You're not going to make that much of a scene, draw everyone's attention. And now,
for no reason.
And so he went there and then he came back in. We finished the game, whatever. And of course, after then he has like this little mustache, like, when you smash your face, like this little blood mustache that was like there for a couple days. It looked like a giant lip. Whether they had Botox or something, or mustache. And the next week after, same thing. Another kid. They smashed into each other. Chin hit Tristan's face. The kid was crying. These are bigger kids. I'm not saying these are not little kids. These are bigger. Tristan's ready. Tristan's like, let's go. And I'm like, and then I was like, yo. I was like, stop, dude. You're right. Dude, his nose was black and blue here. And he had blood coming down his nose.
Holy shit.
He goes, no, I'm okay. And he's going, I'm like, no, dude, you're not. Stop. Like, I said, go sit down. I said, hey, we need to change out. We need to. And I go, and I see Tati's coming around the corner. I said, go with your mom. And he came back and finished the game. His nose was fine, but he was black and blue. He smashed the shit out of it, but he didn't cry. So that my point is to that is in regard to my son with over dramatic. It's like, dude, if you had smashed in the face like that twice,
correct,
and you don't react, you're still going. But then you slide your knee on the dirt.
You
got some rug burn. Don't be smashing the damn freaking the field. And he did this to a team too. He went like this at one point. He caught the
taunting.
Stop. Yeah, and he goes, ooh, and I told him, and we didn't get a penalty, but I was like, I was like, stop. I was like, cut that out. No, we don't do that, dude. Like, it's different to celebrate. You can celebrate, but don't be taunting, dude.
You can celebrate, but don't do the taunting thing.
Yeah, no, because you're about to get humbled. You can get humbled.
I'm telling you, they're gonna learn.
But
they're gonna learn.
Man, I don't know what it is, dude. But yeah, that's something. First of all, I love the experience. I know people say all the time, busy in the year. You need time for yourself. That's my time to myself. Yep. I enjoy doing that.
But we have them. Obviously, God willing, you have them as children for a limited time because they grow up, and then they're gonna have their own friends, which is what we did also. When we had our friends, we wanted to be with our friends, with our group. So we always, and now as parents, we remember the times that our parents invested in us. Because a lot of people are like, oh my God, it's such a sacrifice. No, it's not a sacrifice. It's an investment, man. And yeah, you struggle a little bit here and there. And I've always tried to make it, for example, to all the games, even for my daughter to see her in flag football and all that. This year, with my work schedule for school, coaching, there was many games that I had to miss because my responsibility was to the team. And those hurt you, and when you miss certain games and you're like, and you want to be there all the time, you also teach them that, mom and dad have a job, and I'm also coaching, so I'm always seeing you in school, but I have a responsibility to the team, so I have to be there. And if I can miss one, I'll go. But it teaches them that you're going to be supportive, you're going to help them out with their dreams, and like we tell some of our players, this is not a lifetime for a lot of people. This could be a situation. This could be a moment. Like, I talk to my son sometimes. He wants to be a professional basketball player. I'm like, do you know what it takes to be a professional basketball player? It's a lot of work, man. It's funny because at that age, and what I love is when you mention that, you always encourage different sports. Not only does it exercise different muscles, but it gives you truly appreciate the sport, and you love. You're always gonna have a favorite sport, but a multi-sport athlete is so much diverse in regards to the way he handles things, because there's some sports that teach you how to become a better player in your other sport. There are sports that exercise certain body parts that make you a better all-around athlete. So there's a lot of things that, as parents, we get to enjoy. And don't get me wrong, part of now that my son plays travel basketball, he just started this year. I didn't really think he was ready yet, but the coaches kind of want him to give him a go, and he's been he's been their Jovic, really. He's developed into it where it's a pretty solid role now, which is pretty cool to see him grow and responsible wise. But it's frustrating at times. I still get frustrated at times, and my wife tells me, like, "Hey, relax, calm down." And there's situations that you're not coaching anymore. Well, one of the most frustrating parts is, because the problem is, all the coaches know that I'm a coach as well, but I'm very respectful. I don't say anything to them, or they've asked me, certain things here and there. We share certain things, and we talk basketball a lot, obviously. But I try never to get involved with their game planning or anything. I'm not trying. I never get involved. I just advise my son on things that he can improve in for the team, and I always put the team first. And I know, for example, sometimes they play him out of position, because he's a little taller. They play him down low. He's not really a center, or he's not really a power forward. He likes to be in the open. He likes to push the pace. Does he need to work on his handle? So there's things. It's so funny to me when you say it, and you tell him things, and you go through the trainings and all that. And then, as kids, sometimes they're always going to give you a harder time than another person. So they're always going to battle at times certain things that you say to them. That's part of being the father and son coaching dynamic. They're respectful, but they're going to be like, "Oh my God, Dad."
Have you got the you probably did, because you and I are similar that way. It's kind of funny. But have you gotten though that yet the why are you mean to me but nice
mean
to
to
them?
me but not to them? Absolutely, because I'm setting an example.
And
I'm setting an example.
I'm your father.
Yeah,
that's the difference.
Yeah,
I told him. I said, I know how good you play. You're a good player, and
Yeah.
you lead by example. That's all I always tell him. I said, they know you're my son, and
Exactly.
if you're freaking going like this,
if I allow you to do that,
then I'm letting you do that.
Exactly.
It's funny because I told him. I said, watch. An example: the kid comes, like, he's a little late to practice. If Tristan goes running, oh hi, the kids all chase after him, and I go, get back over here. I blow my whistle, get back here, and they all come back. And I just give Tristan a look, and he knows, I'm like,
yeah.
And I told him, I said, dude, watch next time another kid comes, see if any kid runs up to him. Let's see if they do that. You're the lead, like, it's like a duck. You're the lead duck. They're gonna follow you because they know, oh, that's his dad and whatever. And
what he allows him to do, he's gonna allow me to do.
Yeah, 100%. And how can I ask for otherwise? And I've told him that. I said, the difference is you're my son. That's it.
Yeah.
And
it's like, buddy, whether you like it or not, that's the hill you die on, man.
That's it. It's what it is. Sorry. And I told him before, again, I'm doing this for you. I'm doing this because I want to have these memories with you and moments for you. And
correct.
That, and I want to do this. I'm not, if it was, I'll be doing other things, but I'm doing this because of you, and I was like, when you do things like that and you're running off or you're zoning off and looking at other things and whatever, while everyone else is looking, what am I doing this for? You got to lead by example. And and the reason why you do is because you're my son. That's it. Because the same thing, if you're coaching Jake, they see how you are with Jake, but if Jake is like,
or
he's going out doing something, they're like, oh, why am I don't have to listen to Coach Alex. Nothing. It's like, dude, what are you doing, bro?
Man, and I learned that for me, I learned it early on. Remember, my dad worked in school, in Hyde Elementary, and I can never call him dad in school. It was always Mr. A. Like, I couldn't say, hey, dad, nothing.
I still call him Mr. A to this day.
It's funny. A lot of people still call him Mr. A.
You know, of course, Aramis, I call him by his name.
Yeah,
a little, now, but it's still, when I talk to my family or Tati, whatever, Mr. I'll say Alex, that Mr. A, blah, blah. Yeah. And I never call your mom Mrs. A,
It is funny. The more I heard it, it's a cool ass nickname. Mr.
It
A.
is, Mr. A. It's perfect.
Awesome.
It's so simple. I wonder who Mr. B was,
Not as good.
Not as good,
Then there's Mr. C. Then there's Mr. D.
Who's Mr. D? That's who we need to figure out. Who's the D?
It's a big guy. Call him Big D.
Call him the Big D. You're like, damn right. No, man, but coaching kids, especially, and what's cool too is today is Tristan's birthday. He's 7 years old, which is crazy. It's just crazy.
Time has flown by.
And went to his school this morning. I took today off and Audrey had a field trip, and Tristan had Tati ended up going on a field trip, which was great for a little while at least. And it was just a bowling alley visit, but whatever.
Yeah.
And
they did the bowling alley too?
Yes.
My son next week has a bowling alley. Now you see, all schools do the same thing, bro.
and so I went to the school for Tristan. They had ice cream, and he had picked cotton candy ice cream, and it was so cool. He ended up, he stood on the they put him on the table, and everybody sang happy birthday. And every time they did cha cha cha, he started doing the dab, and he's dancing. And
he's in the dab era.
He was dancing the whole time they were singing him. He started going. He got me Ralph the Father, Raphael. Raphael's to go like this. And he was doing exactly that dance. And the teachers came up to me after and they said, can we watch that video? Because I was recording. I said, sure. And they told me this, man, we never had a kid do that. Your kid is so full of energy. He gets that from his mom,
Yeah.
She's a very, me, Alex, besides this or with my own group, I'm very animated, whatever. But in a big setting, I don't like that, Tati's like that. Tati, Tristan in the spelling bee, he's going like this as he's sitting in the chair, and I'm kind of going, chill.
Yeah, the same way.
But it is, and I'm sure that, I wonder what happens when I'm not.
Act like you've been there. Act like you've been there.
Yeah, like the hell. And of course, I start to realize, like, okay, again, his mother's son, and he's just having fun. Of course, if it doesn't exist, and he made it to third place out of the whatever that was there, so he did a real good job.
That's cool.
Yeah, he didn't. It's not like he didn't know how to do the word. He skipped the letter and then he realized. So he said it back. It's like, that's great that you realized, but it's not enough. Go say that. I'm like, bitch. And no, he was cool. He just went. So I said, all right, come here. He came and sat on my lap and he came back on the stage.
You bitch.
Yeah. I was like, you're not getting dinner when you get home. What? Failure.
You suck, son.
It was like, but anyway, what I was just saying something about coaching my son, but coaching these kids. It's so cool that, I go to field day, the mile run, whatever it is. It was field day. It wasn't mile run. And then today, I see one kid who I coached in basketball, Leo, and his mom comes up to me during field day. And, Leo comes up and gives me a fist bump. All the kids give me a fist bump. I try to get along with all the kids there. And, but he comes up, gives me a fist bump. And, Coach, Coach, and they're telling me how, he's been working hard and he's been playing basketball and they bought a hoop and he's ready to go.
That's
awesome. And they're telling me, so, well, okay, buddy, well, I'll see you soon. And I saw him today. And then of course, Jude, there's a little boy named Jude who played on flag football. Coach comes running to me as I'm going to go see Tristan. And that's the cool thing. That is pretty cool that I'm able to walk through the school and I have kids that I've coached and they're running. I'm sure probably the teacher going, Coach, but it's just one of those cool things that I enjoy.
Coach is just being like an extended parent. Don't get me wrong. Like, our priorities are always our families. And I know our families have sacrificed a lot for us to be able to do what we do. And in me in particular, my family has sacrificed a lot when I don't get home until 10:30, 11 o'clock at night on in season. And you're practicing every other day that you don't have a game. So there's times that I'm not home from 5:30 to 11 on 3 nights out of the week. So I know the toll it takes on them. And obviously, I always try to incorporate, and I'm always here before, so I don't miss anything. I always work around my schedule too, but it's a very rewarding situation when you see players grow and develop as human beings, you see them in their families. You see some of them. It's really emotional when you see them. We have our first graduating class this year. Well, tomorrow. Tomorrow is the athletics award ceremony in our high school, and it's our first senior graduating class. So it's a bittersweet moment because you're happy for them, but these are bonds that you create a lifetime. And some of these kids, man, there's always that coach that changed the way you looked at a sport, the way you looked at life. Sometimes they affect you in a negative way. There's coaches that have pushed kids and they've gotten them away from the sport that they love. I've always, no matter what I've done, and I've learned it now with my son. It's taken me a long time because there's more frustration when it's your own kid, and I'm like, the number one thing is like I want to make sure he never loses the love for the sport. And I told him the other day, we sat down because, like you mentioned, travel sports is not easy, man, and it's expensive. Travel sports now, the way it's out of hand, and it's the Wild Wild West over here in Florida. Some of the best basketball is played here in Florida. So I told him, like, if this is what you want to do, we have to work hard. You're still 10. You have time. I want you to enjoy, but what we came into the agreement, like I told him, I'm like, you're going to be a kid. You're going to have fun. But if you want to be an athlete, there's different levels of commitment. Okay? There's sacrifices you're going to have to make here and there. Even like we tell him food wise, he eats whatever, obviously. But I'm like, well, you have to cut down certain portions, certain timing. So we even worked on that. I'm like, because he started seeing himself. I'm like, you're not in game shape. Like, you're still a kid, but you're not in game shape in regards to endurance. In regards, like he would, when he started playing, he would get tired by like the second quarter. He was exhausted. I'm like, bro, you're 10, you're 9 years old, you're 10 years old. You shouldn't be this tired at all. I'm like, you're out of shape. You're not in game shape. You're skinny, but you're not in game shape. So there are things that it's so cool to work with. And then when you see the gratification from older kids, even, man, like when those 5 or 6 year olds, when they turn 11 or 12 and they ask them, oh, when'd you fall in love with basketball? Oh, my mom put me in the league and I had a coach named Bobby that he really, like, that's when you see coaches retire and you see so many players come and so many people speak of it, it really hits home because that coach changed so many lives or influenced them, maybe not changed them, but influenced them, gave them a word of advice, changed their outlook. And then those people have families, those people have careers. That's why if there's a lesson, sometimes as dads, we might not notice it at the moment, but everything you say or do carries a weight to some of these kids. And sometimes as leaders, we'll say something that we don't even think of what it was, but the recipient is taking it so deep and it's engraving so deep within that is going to create something that's going to last a lifetime for them, good or bad. So that's why I'm always very careful to not remove, to always be upfront with players, always talk to them straight, even if it's your own kid. So you got to be realistic. Players respect realism and be up forward with them. Be straightforward with them. Tell them about their roles. Tell them about what they need to work on, whatever the case may be. And like I always tell them, we also have an open door policy that you can speak to the coaches. And I even tell my son, I'm like, you can speak respectfully to a coach. You don't question him, but you speak to him and ask him. I'm like, oh, look, coach, what happens if I do this? Do you think it'll work better? But like, you can give your point of view because, hey, some of these kids see the game differently too. So coaches could be wrong at times. So it's just what I love about coaching and with kids and all is the relationship that it builds, where it gives you a lifelong bond, and even at times it could last. I've had kids that don't want to play basketball anymore after a year or two, but they enjoyed that time. They enjoyed the commitment. So it's a very rewarding profession, even if you volunteer. It's very rewarding. And is it exhausting at times? Absolutely. But you enjoy it, and just to see their smile and their success and even their failures, because youth sports, one of the hardest things to manage is failure. You have to teach kids that they're going to fail. Kids do not understand failing anymore. I'm like, you have to teach failure. It's okay to fail. You're going to learn from it, but you have to keep going. Success, a league has one champion always, right? How many teams does leagues have? 32 teams, 20 something teams. Like 23 people failed, but what? They competed. they were athletes. It's like that's people don't see that, man.
Yeah, I told the kids this year, or the end of the season, I told the football team, and they didn't win a game. We did not win a game, and we got close. But it was just ridiculous, some of the things. But it's what it is. It wasn't more them. It was just the way it was. We had the scraps. They were all young. They got facing older kids, and but they competed and they learned. But the most important thing, they had fun. They made friends, and that's what I told them. I said, guys, even though it didn't go our way in regards of wins and losses or whatever, I said, but that didn't matter. What mattered was we had fun. Mm-hmm. We made friends. We learned. We played the game we love. I said, and you know what? You're gonna know next season, which is coming around the corner. There's spring, fall. I said, you're gonna remember some of this stuff and most of it, and you're gonna be ready to go. You're like, I remember what worked. I remember, when coach, whether it was Sean or Dustin or myself, and I was lucky. I got two dads who were willing to help me, and they stepped in, and we were able to communicate on a phone chain and work together on coaching plans and everything. That the kids were getting it. They started to understand it. It just never resulted in anything because the teams that were playing, but it's what it was. But so I have confidence that they're going to do better next season, whether I'm able to coach them or not, because Tristan's probably going to outgrow that group by his birth, because he's 7 today, and I think the cutoff is August. I don't know what it is, but that's what mattered, and that's what's fun, and to see them love the game and get better. And it was like, I'm trying to remember his name now, Prater. Decent player. He was basketball wise. I mean, he could shoot, he could dribble. He didn't dribble. He was a little traveler, but he was a young kid, so it didn't really. He was a traveler. Yeah. And I would tell him, dribble the ball. You got to dribble. Yeah. And the referee,
American Airlines.
Yeah, I mean,
hey, Greyhound, relax.
But buddy. He was good. He would shoot layups and whatever. And but he was also a ball hog. He was very aggressive. And I would tell him, dude, I said, teams know you're going to shoot. You have the advantage to call out your team and say, hey, go this way, go that way. I don't know how many games I told them. In practices, I communicated, lead it, dribble up, look for your team. Don't just try to go for a shot where, the ball goes out of bounds or they steal it, because you're holding the ball too damn long.
Correct.
Pass it out. And I remember it was the second to last game. He pointed to Tristan, go to corner. He went like that, even just that alone. And he passed it to Tristan and bounced out of bounds. But I was so proud of him. That's like, dude, that's what you need to do. You're adding a new element to your game.
Yes, yeah.
And I was just proud that he adapted that in the second game. He did it again, and they scored. There's little things here and there. There's different stories about that. But to me, I'm like, that's what I'm doing this for. That's love development.
That. Yeah.
I love that. I had an impact on that kid with doing that. So anyway, we're about 2 hours, 6 minutes.
Yes, which is 7 minutes in.
We're having fun. But we're going to wrap this up. Any final thoughts? Nope. All right. So anyway, guys.
No. Too many thoughts. Many thoughts.
Oh,
but
man.
It was just, it's funny how we always do this. We're like, oh, today will be a short show.
Yeah.
2 hours later.
It's what it is, dude. We just have to, we just don't believe it. Let's just be honest with ourselves.
No, at all.
Mavericks beat the Wolves. Game 1.
Oh, shit. Wow.
The Kyrie was talking today. Panthers beat the Rangers. I think game 2 for the Celtics Pacers is tomorrow.
Tomorrow, correct.
So we'll see what happens there. Again, Alex and I both picked Timberwolves and Pacers to pull it out. But it's going to be fun. I love the purity of the league, the parity.
Yes.
It's awesome no matter what happens, even though I really don't want to see Celtics, but I think it's still cool to see if we're going to have a champion that hasn't been the last one in a few years. Well, it's Celtics.
Yeah.
It is what it is. It's very cool. And the Celtics are, I say that, but again, the Celtics are a dangerous team. If they beat the Pacers, they're the favorites, like legitimately. I think they're favorites to win it amongst the league. And,
I mean, they were the best team in the league.
And it's fair. So. That's fair. But again, don't sleep on the
Timberwolves. Porzingis is the key there.
He's the key. Don't sleep on the Timberwolves, and definitely don't sleep on the Mavs. The Mavs, even if they pull it out with Kyrie and Luka is the one, So we'll see. Anyway, it's going to be a lot of fun, this whole playoffs, and what's about to happen with Miami. With the Heat, Dolphins, the OTAs have started. We didn't talk a lot or at all really about Miami, but we will next episode.
It's gonna look nice. It's gonna look nice, Bobby.
We appreciate you guys. Thank you all so much. Don't forget to like and subscribe. And until then, we'll see you next Wednesday night. Appreciate you all.